What is this monstrosity? Super carrier Gondwana.
Gondwana. Like a supercontinent, I guess. Oh, name after the.
Well, it'd be a super carrier.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we're back with another episode of Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny. First up though, we got a couple of comments. Fenrir756 from the Patreon, from the episode Land of Confusion. With respect to my previous comment you responded to, you are correct that the show never explicitly says that Rao is a natural, but he is a clone of Mu's father, who was a natural, and there was no mention of giving him coordinator upgrades. So it was implied in the show that he was a natural, especially with his quote that Aldeflaga was attempting to cheat death itself by creating Rao. Unfortunately, the official confirmation of Rao's status as a natural was confirmed in the Gundam seed novels and the Master Grade Gunpla kit for the Providence. Let you respond first.
So I guess there's some naturals that are good enough to keep up with coordinators.
Here's my thing. What have I always said about the side stuff?
I mean, it doesn't prove anything because we haven't seen it.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't prove anything. If it's official material, obviously it matters.
Yeah.
But to me, who hasn't seen it, tough luck, I guess. I mean, for me, I still can argue your point. I just subtract that last thing, which says it's official. You know, it's like finding out that the Emperor is alive because he said a statement in Fortnite. You know, it's like, fuck, what the hell are we doing anymore? But, the thing about Rao is, yeah, sure, he's a clone of Aldeflaga. Who does he go to make that clone?
Hibiki.
Right.
Who is the guy who invented the iron womb?
I don't know if he invented it, but he's certainly the guy who, did it so well that they made the ultimate coordinator, that is Kira. So, so you're saying, Fenrir, you're saying that the implication is that the show is telling us that he is a natural because his dad was a natural, except that every coordinator came from naturals. So, and the show goes to lengths to show us the difficulty of naturals to genetically code a coordinator with their kids. So, the fact he does go to Hibiki, the guy who perfects the process, implies to me that Rao was a coordinator. Otherwise, you just go to anybody else, right?
Yeah. Unless cloning, I guess he's maybe the only one who had the expertise to do the cloning, but I don't think that's...
I mean, according to the show, there was a bunch of other doctors out there fucking up to make them a coordinator process, but implying that they could still do genetic modifications. Also, the statement of Aldeflaga was attempting to cheat death itself by creating Rao. Yeah, he was making a clone. Doesn't mean he couldn't make a better clone of himself than he was. If I was going to make a version of me, I'd try to make it the best version of me possible.
Yeah.
Do everything that I wasn't willing to do myself. Yeah, get rid of the lazy gene and make him, give him a high metabolism if you could. Make him a really fast programmer. It's every coordinator. Alright.
You know what? Go ahead, yeah.
No, yo.
I mean, isn't that what coordinators early on the show were known for, being fast programmers?
Well, it's the first thing we see Kira do really quickly.
Yeah.
Even before we are familiar with the concept of coordinators. Athrun and all of them do it when they reprogram the Gundams for them to be able to pilot them. So, yeah. Before Flay shows up and says, oh, they could probably hear us from 5 rooms away and then break our necks with inhuman strength, her indication that they're all Ubermensch. Alright, well, next up we got Master Detective from the Patreon from the episode Junction. This is more so responding to last episode stuff. Minerva's pilots are all coordinators. Some of them just sucked at using a gun, lol. I think the gun shooting stuff was just trying to re-emphasize how experienced Athrun is. Shin's perspective on being mad/sad that the coordinators caused the fall of Jaina 7 is that he's disappointed his people would re-incite conflict and cause more deaths like his family's. This tracks with his "Are you trying to start another war?" quote. Sorry, I lost my line. Also, that Kira in the mid-credit roll, by the way. Also, that's Kira in the mid-credit roll, by the way. I'm terrible at reading today, apparently. If it helps, Kira has purple eyes and brown hair, while Shin has red eyes and black hair, which is something I thought we already covered. Look, just because I fucked it up and got the wrong person, or you're saying I did, doesn't mean that we also didn't cover before, which just makes it worse, my fuck up, but I'm pretty sure we said it. No comment? No response? I'm waiting for you. Don't look at me like, well, so... No, I say, I read the comment, and then my first thought is, let's see what you say.
I mean, there's really no thing to compare there, and also, says something about his own people, but it's, at this point, I'm not really sure how or if Shin identifies with anybody in particular. I guess it's with zaft, of course, because he's a member of zaft, and the plants, or just plant, because it's one organization, one nation. But he seems to be all over the place, right? He's like, oh, I sympathize with, later on we talk about how he sympathizes with Arthur. Like, I pity him. But at the same time, you know, they had that one scene later on where we're talking about that with Kira. It's like, yeah, but I don't like this particular coordinator. So he seems to very much still the angry teenager who hasn't figured out his own emotions. And so he blurts out whatever he thinking in the moment, thinking that he's being so smart and superior, right? He covers up like, oh, I'm going to say a very smart thing. And, you know, he hits a couple of points. But the way he does it is mostly like shouting, like, my emotions are wrong, and I'm gonna make him your problem now, right?
You stupid idiot.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what he says in Japanese, but in the English stuff, that's what he shouts at Kigali when she's giving her everything round out for the best, I guess. You stupid idiot.
Yeah. So it feels more like someone sorting their emotions by making it someone else's problem. It's like, I am hurt, and I'm going to make that your problem. Whether whatever comes out of my mouth is smart or not, well thought or not, it's more of, I am hurt, and I keep replaying in my mind. But months later, I think, well, yeah, about half a year later, the horrific, you know, remains of my family as I saw them. So that's still a raw nerve on him, right? So even if he says something that is smart, it's still said in the, it's that one day when you have a conversation and somebody just says something very vicious, right? But it's less about, wow, they're very clever. It's more like instinctually they just go for the nerve because they're in pain, right? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting in these conversations. So you can say somebody that's, you know, on the nose, but still is like, I'm hurting and I want to make you hurt as well. Fuck you. Remember this.
I mean, I think the interesting thing is you think he sides with zaft. Because it's not something I wrote down. It's something I thought might be noteworthy, but I didn't actually make a note about it. Was because I was thinking, who does Shin actually side with? It's actually a thought that I had. Because of literally one of the not speeches, I guess, yelling contests he has at Kigali. At Kigali, not with Kigali. Where he blames the coordinators for Jaina 7 falling.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't say zaft did it or that group of zaft people did it. Although he does repeat, you know, there's a faction of zafts, it's all those people, but he says, when he blames somebody, he says, the coordinators did it. Well, aren't you a coordinator? So, are you disassociating? Is that what's going on here?
I guess so. Yeah, I think he hasn't really found his reason for doing what he's doing right now. You know, we don't have Kira's, I want to protect people kind of impulse, not yet. Right? At least not clearly defined. He clearly wants to help people. You know, he wants to defeat the terrorists. Like, I don't want any, you know, like, why are you guys starting this war again? That seems to be the only impulse. Like, don't do this. This is stupid, right? I don't want more suffering. But how does he feel about any a person in particular or anything like that. He hasn't really defined that yet. So,
Yeah.
he's very much a weather vane right now.
All right. Well, we got the board.
Board. This is the board. Board. This is.
The only thing I haven't done, but I think I should do, is move Atherin from unknown to orb.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he operates for orb at this point, because they seem to be acting like they can order him around. It's just I have him tied to fucking everybody. So many alliance get Atherin that I have to switch the entire board around to do it. And obviously, I've added, what, 5 people?
Yeah. Well, we have Murray, Kohiro, Juna, Unato, Andrew Whitfield, because he comes back, Captain Todaka.
Nope, that guy's been on the board since day one.
Yeah. No, I don't remember where he was. Got the names of these people. Okay.
I mean, you said 3 out of 5.
Who else is out here? Shadow Girl. We don't know who she is.
Learn my lesson by your inability to not say what you see.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know we saw her in the the last bit of that episode, so it's like
actually it was near the beginning of the episode.
No, it was the last because
nope, it was the beginning. I just told you I watched it just an hour ago, basically. So I don't care how far, what angle you tilt your head at. I can do it too. You know you're wrong. I just watched it an hour ago.
I just watched it to take my notes about an hour ago too. So
yeah, well then it's surprising that you can't remember. No,
I
you
remember
can't
because
remember apparently that she appears at the beginning of the episode, just like 5 to 10 minutes in, where Durandal is commenting about the destruction of the Janus 7 fall because it happens at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, but it happens after you see the long sequence of the whole thing. So I'll say about mid. It's not at the end, but it's like mid episode, really.
Between 5 to 10 minutes, which is in the first half of the show, not at the end, which is what you said.
Anyway, we don't know who she is or what she is exactly. So
I'm assuming she's human.
4. I mean, maybe we have clones and we have coordinators.
Clones are still humans.
Yeah.
Coordinators are also human.
Yeah. Or so they claim.
Well, you chose on your side. I think you did.
Not really. I think I'm siding that right now in Destiny. I'm siding more with. Oh yeah, and also Yasik and Dirka.
Yeah, but they appeared last time.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody else. Oh really?
Well, I said 5, and you named 5 already, so I don't know why you're still searching.
And I made sure that I wasn't counting them. We just, making sure that.
I already said that I'm siding with bad Zaft. The Zola faction, as it were.
I'm siding with, so far, although I do have my questions about Durandal. So far, I'm just siding with Zaft this time around.
I guess also as a reminder, by the end of these 2 episodes we're going to be recording back to back, you got to pick who you want to be redrawn as.
Yeah, that's going to be a question. I still don't know, though.
Well, Durandal was your go-to last time I brought this up.
Yeah, Durandal, because although I find him a compelling character, I don't think he's going to turn out to be a good guy. I think he's too much of a politician to do the right thing ultimately, right? When it comes down to it.
He's literally doing the right thing right now.
Yeah, but
he's sending aid to everybody, even when he also didn't deny that apparently Zaft has some hand in what happened at Janus 7. He literally said that to Orb when they asked him. So he's both sending aid and
Well, he
not
said it to the
denying-
Earth in general. He said it to the Earth Alliance,
Well,
and the Earth Alliance passed it.
Well, technically, he would have said it to the Atlantic Federation.
Atlantic Federation, yeah.
It's weird they're calling it Federation, but it was Atlantic
Atlantic
Alliance last time.
Alliance, yeah. Atlantic Alliance. It's still the Atlantic Alliance, yeah.
Well, because they got the information from when they're talking about it, I'm saying they, I mean
Jibri.
Orb.
Yeah.
Well, I mean
They got it from Jibri. Jibri gave it to somebody who then passed it on to the Earth Alliance.
When I say they, I mean Orb, and when Orb is talking about who they got it from, they're saying Atlantic Alliance, because Atlantic Alliance is the one. I have a note about that, obviously, that's why I'm not trying to get too in deep. But, yeah, so he's doing the right thing.
So far, but I think he still has ulterior motives.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, but those ulterior motives might be good ones. I'm not saying that they're good.
I don't think it goes to the whole moral conversation. Moral conversations that you and I have, and sometimes I just don't fucking care. Not about the conversations, I mean about the, oh shit, you just said the word, and the word's not in my head anymore. What was your last sentence?
That he has ulterior motives?
Motives, yeah. Motives. I don't give a shit about motives.
I care about it. That's what compels the characters and moves them forward, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they do what they do based on their motive.
It incites what they are doing and how they will act. Motives matter to, not guessing. If you have to know the motive, you aren't guessing anymore, but hey, you're doing detective work. Anyway, it helps you figure out what they're going to do and what they're going to do as time moves on. But in the moment, I don't care what his motive is. If he's doing something good, he's doing something good. I don't think we judge his actions on his motives until he does something negative.
I mean, you can do the right thing for the wrong reasons, and you can do the wrong things for the right reasons.
Yeah, but I think if you're doing the right thing, you're doing the right thing. You can do them for the wrong reasons, but the right thing is still getting done. Actions speak louder than words.
True, but it can also poison. It's like a poison pill in your actions. If eventually you know what, for example, you do a good thing to motivate people to side with you, and then you turn around and go, like, use that support to do a horrible thing. Like, I helped you, now you owe me. Like, oh, yeah, you did the right thing by helping, but ultimately your intentions was to screw them over. Like, hey, come on to my side. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. After the fact, it can make things bad, but you still did the right thing at the right time. I understand you're saying you can poison the fact, like, oh, think about all the kids that Jeffrey Epstein helped. It's like, yeah, but after the fact, sure. But there's a lot of kids out there that are bad example. It's a bad example.
See what I mean? It's
a bad example because specifically my example was towards kids, and then and then I used a guy. I could have used a guy who was like, I don't know, like a.
It's pink. Okay, let's put it this way. It's like pink washing. Like what people call greenwashing or pink washing. A corporation gives a lot of money to say cancer research or saving the Amazon, and then later on, they're also, you discover that they're the people who are also paying a lot of money for slash and burn in the Amazon, right? Like, oh, we give all this money, right? But for every dollar they put in, they get 100 or 1,000 more because of the slash and burn.
I think the problem with trying to use a real world example is that real world is not as black and white as anime tends to be. Anime characters tend to develop their negative tendencies until that it comes out later, versus the corporate example you were just giving out. The corporate example tends to be we were actually donating so that we would look good the whole time in case we got found out for what we were already doing.
Like a e-celebrity, right? Oh man, everybody loves this person because they say nice things and stuff like that. And then you realize, oh yeah, they're helping people to get closer to them. She kicked her
dog live on stream.
Yeah, or something like that, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying is, that's not even an example I would have used either. But again, my point is that he might have negative motivation, but as far as we know, he hasn't done anything backwards that's been negative. He's currently doing something good. Yeah, I know. The shows are full of backstory. Mm-hmm. I'm sure one of these negative things that's happening is because of him, but it's only because he's a political leader. That's just what they do in these shows. You're not. Well, I don't know. Eileen Canaver. There's a lot of notes about her. She sided with Siegel Klein, and then just fucking vanished from the show. And then all we hear about her, well, she vanished from the show, other than being shown as signing the peace treaty, and then apparently sacrificing a lot that allowed Athrun to still walk around. I got notes about it. I'm not going to jump into it now. My point is that she was a political leader that seemed to have had nothing negative about her ever.
Yeah.
So, hashtag not all leaders.
Yeah. We got a lot of episodes to go. That's for sure.
So I just cut in now and then play Cult of Personality in the middle of the episode.
I mean, I still find him an intriguing character. I may hate him by the end, but I still find him an intriguing character. He is more intriguing than Jibri, because Jibri clearly is an asshole that wants to get his own way, right? Right. Jibri's like, we can take advantage of this, and we're gonna start a war to kill all of them. And it's like, okay, I see what you're doing.
I will say, Durandal is interesting, but he is the most boring, interesting character. Nothing about him is active. It's like, okay, why does he and Ray why does Ray have a nickname for him? It's like, ooh, that's a little bit of backstory interesting. What's their relationship? Why is he talking to that other girl? He is backstory interesting. He is there on the scene. He gives little snide remarks. You think something must be up with him, but there's no clues yet, right? So he's boring because he doesn't do anything. All my interest in him is that he looks cool, and I wonder what his backstory is. Otherwise, he's kind of a boring character.
Yeah, I mean, also the focus is not really on him, so...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's interesting, but he is the most boring, interesting character versus, say, I don't know, who's another interesting character in a really interesting way? The hard point is here we don't have a lot of super interesting characters. I mean, you think Durandal, Jibri's interesting? At least Jibri's doing stuff. Jibri is actively communicating with Neo, because we assume that Phantom Pain is Neo's ship, which means that he's actively a participant in what's going on in a way that we can see, versus Durandal, who is an active participant in a way he sits on the bridge and pokes at Athrun. You know?
Yeah. Oh, and sleeping with what's her name?
Talia.
Talia, yeah.
I'll always remember Talia because it's like, why does she have the name of Damian Wayne's mother? So, yeah. But I mean, Jibri is controlling a council. He is, operating the propaganda behind the scenes. He is coming up with the plans to ensure that the war happens, even though he is not the one. He has nothing to do with the Zala faction. He's using their hatred to incite Earth to rise up for the war that's about to happen. He's very interesting, and he's active, versus Durandal, who is boringly interesting because he's not doing anything.
I'm more interested in where the hell they are meeting, where Jibri is operating from, because I think that's going to be a point of
that's background interest.
Yeah.
On top of his active interest.
See, I care more about...
I hope he's in the Antarctic. I hope he's like some Antarctic dome, just to keep up with the whole Watchmen thing that I've been calling him. Because you get the room with all the screens and everything, which I have to know is like a Giran call-out, because Giran, in Origin anyway, had that room full of screens. It's exactly like this. Yeah, but it's also Ozymandias.
Yeah, it's a command center thing. It's like, he's watching over the world. Look,
Yeah, he's doing the Ozymandias. He also has the pet cat like Ozymandias.
Yeah, I think it's just one screen, but it's divided like screen on screen situations. It has he has a lot of. He's not multiple screens. It's one giant screen that has No,
I don't think it's picture in picture. I think it's literally a bunch of screens because some of them are off.
That's true. Well, I mean, if he's looking at the way, if he's taking, for example, like a browser and opening a lot of things and putting them together, then one browser might be off because there's nothing.
But we've seen this in this show before when they do browsers with there's a bunch of shit on top of each other. It's not perfect squares.
Yeah. He just neater that way.
Eh. Yeah. I think anything else having to do with the board on my end is in my notes. So, anything else from the board on your end?
Oh, really?
Well, as always, start with your notes. Well, your first note, anyway.
Yeah, we're going, and it's a good thing I actually label them by chapter because I know when I make a mistake, although that didn't work for 79, it worked here. I can go to the chapter and chapter and verse, if you will. So, chapter 7, Land of Confusion. This is more of a note on a reference, right? It's the Tannhauser canon is a reference to the Battle of Tannhauser Gates, a line improvised by Rutger Hauer while delivering Roy Batty's dying speech at the end of the movie Blade Runner.
Yeah, it's funny. I just watched that 2 days ago, the final cut version of Blade Runner. Specifically, another reaction channel that I interact with a lot. They were watching it just the other day. I kept mocking them because they did not. They were deep into it. They were like analyzing every little thing, but they did not. They gave no importance to Rutger Hauer's last Roy Batty line at the end of the movie, which is it's funny because they forgot it, which is I thought ironic. The quote about
the tears in the rain,
about forgetting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It'll all be forgotten, like tears in the rain. It's like, oh, and you've forgotten the line. Semi-ironic. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Blade Runner.
Oh, I am. I love the music. Oh, but you don't like jazz, and that whole thing is jazz.
I don't even think about the music when I think about Blade Runner. So
I think the music is just fantastic.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In my commentary about not really enjoying it, it has nothing to do with the music. It's a cool movie. There's a lot to think about there too. Obviously, I'm not knocking it. I just guess I must find it kind of boring. My commentary on it is that I don't think I've ever watched it once without falling asleep at some point.
It is slow paced. It is 2001 slow paced kind of thing, right? It's like it takes its time. It doesn't rush anything. It does have action sequences, but they're very rare. I think really the only two action sequences are when he's chasing what's her name in the
when he chases the girl who just fucked a snake, by the way. And then in that at the very end of that chase scene, you have what's his name? He is a character actor. The guy who plays the super strong one who kills the guy at the beginning of the movie. Yeah, he gets into a fight with him there. It was obviously the Roy Batty fight or chase rather at the end of the. But then also the girl, the next to the last one, who was like the assassin one, the one who puts the black shit across her eyes.
Yeah.
It might be a fight if you consider Roy killing his creator.
I mean, he just steps into him. It's just like.
Oh, but it lasts for like a full minute.
I mean, taking someone's eyes and imploding them like that, it's not gonna be. He takes his time.
There's an element of him also crushing the skull because you can fucking hear it.
Yeah. That's it.
I mean, there was kind of an essay in there too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of things, plenty of action, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not, like I said, I'm not discounting it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying I don't enjoy it all that much. And I like plenty of characters sit in a room and talk movies. The Man from Earth. There's more examples. I just can't think of any off the top of my head. All of a sudden, Man from Earth is typically my go-to.
I mean, it's also the movie that gave like Cyberpunk its visual thing. Because if you read,
it's not Cyberpunk without Coca-Cola,
or Atari,
or Go Senso-sama.
Yeah. Anyway, you have notes?
Not for nothing, but the Zala faction isn't entirely beyond understanding. Naturals were basically monsters to coordinators in the backstory of the show. I constantly liken it to 01 from the Animatrix, where robots are getting destroyed in the streets. We see bloody shots of coordinators being killed in public just for being coordinators. So they escape to space and build colonies to separate themselves from their persecutors, who then proceed to nuke them, killing hundreds of thousands of them. The Alliance government is run by Blue Cosmos, an anti-coordinator racist hate group that wants to eliminate all coordinators. Zaft didn't start out with Zala's genocide mission. It had the peace-loving Klein in charge at first, and the people voted him out in favor of Patrick Zala and his message of war. The Zala faction is a creation of the Alliance's hate and a pushback against the terror campaign of Blue Cosmos. And let's not forget that it's a branch of some Alliance faction that attacked Zaft first after the peace treaties this season, once again making the Alliance the hostile instigators of this new conflict. Hell, after the drop of Janus 7, the ordinary people on the streets are shouting the racist group's catchphrase without any outside prompting, showing how baked in the hatred for coordinators is.
I mean, also it could be, well, not a prompting. I think it could be a prompting from the media, right? Because, you know.
We see people out, like, in destroyed areas.
Yeah, they're
shouting.
talking about it.
Yeah, so we don't see any propaganda happening. The inside, to my read of it, is that hatred of coordinators is so baked in that the man on the street knows the racist catchphrase.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to be said about racism, and even people who don't feel racist can still. They know
there would be a thing. Yeah, there would be a thing of if they were showing us like the systematic oppression of coordinators by a not unwilling but unknowing things that normal naturals do versus literally shouting KKK slogans, right?
Yeah, making it very obvious. Yeah.
Well, again, I don't know if they're making it very obvious for our sake or if they're just showing us that this is just how Earth naturals typically are. Like, this isn't a case of there's a lot of innocence around here and they're being manipulated by the racist group. I feel like the implication here is most people are actually just fucking racist and there might be some innocence among them. A Sodom and Gomorrah situation, right? Find me 5 good people.
Also, but then again, okay, I can understand why they're doing it, but like I said over at 79, once you cross certain lines, and this case seems to be deliberate, right? Because that's what the Sala faction wants. It's like we won't. The only piece is a piece of the grave of our enemies. That's the whole thinking. We only will be at peace if our enemies are obliterated, right?
It might be true though. Literally, we signed a peace treaty, and the Alliance group, before the Zala group did anything, the Alliance group already infiltrated, attacked, stole shit, are ready to propagate the war over again. It just so happened that it happened to be a Zala group also operating behind the scenes, ready to do this thing. So both sides were already gearing up to do again.
Yeah, but there's also the idea of escalation, right? It's like, real life examples.
Maybe you can like lean into different anime examples.
Yeah.
We should probably start trying to do that more.
Yeah, I'm talking about anime examples here. Because anime also has the tendency to just go all out, be very explicit. So,
well, the thing is, I understand what you're saying about escalation, but I think that we're already past escalation
because of what the Sala group did.
Well, no, I mean past that because we Alliance 1 nuked a plant already, which is like
but we were.
It's essentially the same as like nuking a major city of the other side, or basically Earth, right? Because that's everybody who lives in space lives in these things. Oh, there are only coordinators in there. It's a guaranteed kill everybody you hate move. And then they follow that up with let's nuke them some more before Patrick goes to use a super weapon. Also, they did Antarctica, Josh A base, where they basically tried to lure in as many coordinators as possible and then super weapon them first. The Alliance always does it first. They've escalated to the end of escalation. So when Janus 7 comes down, that is just equivalent. It's not even escalation at that point. It's
you
more.
Already have a peace. You have a peace treaty. You're violating the peace treaty because everybody came to the point of near destruction. Like, okay, let's step back from
No,
that.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm also indicating that the Alliance has already broken the peace treaty by infiltrating Armory 1, stealing a bunch of Gundams.
Was that the Alliance?
We don't know that's the Alliance. Well, we know it actually kind of is. It's got to be Atlantic Federation that we know. Jibril is
Jibril has contacts with, and people within the Atlantic.
If he's manipulating the Atlantic Alliance, and the Atlantic Alliance is doing it, then the Atlantic Alliance is doing it. Does it matter if they're being manipulated or they're doing it on their own?
It matters because if you sever that connection, then
this goes back to our previous conversation about motive. That I don't care about the motive. You did it. If you did it, you did it. If I shot that kid, otherwise my wife my children would have been killed. You still shot a kid, though. I don't care about your motive. What you did, you did.
But the thing is that I think because Jibril, remember when we present the information to the others, it's like, oh, it's so unfortunate that this happened, but blah blah blah. Like he's talking like, no, wait, that's wrong. Because whoever he was talking to that he was going to spread the information, he mentions that he got the information from Phantom Limb, is it?
Phantom Pain. Phantom Limb is a character from Venture Brothers.
Yeah, from Phantom Pain. So that at least that one person.
No, that was the connection that we were. No, that's the connection we were saying is that Jibril controls Phantom Pain. His connection is Neo, and thus Neo is operating for the Earth Alliance.
Yeah, but I don't think ultimately that he has the. I mean, I don't think he even cares about what's her name.
His plan is to start up the same kind of war that Bad Zaft or Zala Zaft is trying to do.
Yeah,
and he is planning the propaganda campaign in order to make it. Well, he's not even planning; it's happening. At the end of last episode was literally the whole. We sent them a series of commands. And if they don't do it, get demands. And if they don't do it, they're going to be an enemy of mankind, and we're going right back to war. And it's like Jibril got everything he wanted. So, like I said, if he's manipulating the Earth Alliance, or the Earth Alliance did it itself, doesn't matter. The Earth Alliance did what the Earth Alliance did.
Yeah, which is dumb as fuck, but still.
So, I know it seems like I'm just trying to justify the Zala faction, but I don't really think I have to justify it. I feel like if you think about the history of what's going on, they do make sense. Well, their actions make sense, rather. These are people that have been pushed to the end.
Their actions, I think, don't make sense.
No, I think their actions make sense if you put it into context with everything else.
Because they're going to launch like a terrorist campaign or something like that. They could have tried to blow up.
No, they want the end of the war. They're basically saying, this peace is fucking stupid. They're going to kill us. Their thing is, if we didn't do this first, they'd do it to us the same way they did before, every time. So, we've got to knock you idiots out of this idea of peace, because it's going to fucking get us all killed. The only way we can win this is by winning this. The one guy that we heard say this, he is a more effective Giran, I feel like.
I mean,
his speech, not Patrick, but the guy who was shouting during the fight, he eventually dies on the Jaina 7 thing as it's going down. Because the things that he's saying are more true than anything Giran has said so far in 79. Like I said, Giran has said some pretty dumb shit as justification for what they're up to.
A fascist. He's a fascist and a supremacist.
Right. But I mean the idea of the argument itself. Because Giran is like, we've just got to push them into the very corner that we want them in, and then we can demand peace for everything. And then, he goes on to say, well, we just got to kill them all and everything like that. But when Patrick says it, it sounds horrible at first, and then you put in context of everything the coordinators have been through before. And then you go back to this guy, and then the instigating offense of this new season, and it's like, kind of right. The Alliance isn't going to let it go. They're going to kill you all if you don't start the war again and win. I know the major question of Seed is always, how do you end the cycle of hate? And to be fair, I don't know the answer, and that's always been the reason that I was like, I hope they don't make something up that wouldn't work in the real world, because obviously we've never made something in the real world that worked, so I don't want them to come up with something and be like, oh, it fucking worked. The realist answer here would be to nothing, just to end on a note. You know, like how Seed ended basically would have been the best solution of status quo. You know, we still fucking hate each other, but we maybe just don't want to all die.
I mean, eventually you can rebuild the peace, but it's going to take time, right? It's
either that or you accomplish your goal of genociding the other side. I mean, it's a horrible thing to say, but it is a solution. Don't say it.
Is it really?
Okay, I didn't think that's what I thought you were going to say. Don't say it.
Because the problem with uncorking that bottle, which has already been uncorked, is that there is no stopping people from doing it to you too, even within your own group. Because, okay, you are the kind of person who commits genocide. Oh, I saved my people. And then there's a political schism between your people, because that also happens. Well, it worked before. I killed everybody in my enemy. I have to kill everybody here as well. And then you end up with more.
I know what you're saying. I just I think that is a generational issue if that was to happen. Only because there's no. We have not factionally. Well, maybe there's nobody left on the Klein faction except for. Well, no, I guess technically there are, but they're not killing one another. I think you have to be separated, like a couple of generations separated from the instigating factor of the genocide of the original one. Yeah. Because we're in that point now, because it's become literally a race war. Like, the normal people on Earth are crying out the racist shit.
It has to be normals as well in some of the plants. In some of the plants.
Well, no, I don't think so. Remember, we had that talk about the whole people who came from Orb thing, and I was like, well, the people coming from Orb would have been mixed of naturals and coordinators, and that was during the Patrick line of killing everybody. And I was not so subtly indicating that maybe they didn't take the naturals, or they killed the naturals that they brought with them. I don't think there's naturals on the plants, unless it came from the current peacetime, where it's like ambassadors or diplomats or something.
Or what happens if you build, like Kira, a new line of coordinators, like the ultimate coordinators, because Kira was supposed to be the ultimate coordinator. So now you have multiple levels of coordinator.
I'm thinking the word that we're going to use here is chattel slavery.
Yeah, so will the regular coordinators are now baseline humanity, except...
Oh, sorry, you went a different way. I misunderstood you. I thought you were saying, what if we brought a bunch of natural humans to use as birthing things for a new generation of coordinators?
That too.
Because we're on the third generation now, and those people are not being able to give birth anymore. Yeah, I thought that's what you were going with. That's a storyline that hasn't even come up yet in this season.
Which is also fucked up as well.
Well,
because
I think the problem there is that you're looking at a ruling society thing and not a genocide thing, because they're so rare. They would be so rare as compared to everybody else that they would try to... That would be like we're going to be put in power based on our genetics rather than our whatever, because there's not enough of them.
It's the thing. If the argument is humans resent coordinators because coordinators are better, and they enslave them because they created a slave race. The slave race fled essentially and armed themselves to protect themselves, right? And the humans still resent them. Okay, and the coordinators still fear.
No. I'm just thinking. We were just talking about anime examples. This is literally Crest of the Stars, where mankind creates a superior race to go out and explore space and then come bring everything back to them. And they do kind of go back and destroy their creators. I mean, they don't destroy all of mankind. They destroy the space station that they were created in and kind of suppress them. And then they do go on to basically control space, all of space. But they let humans relegate themselves on planets, and they just don't let them explore space anymore. You've got to, go on one of their ships if you want to go into space and everything. So this kind of example already happens in other anime.
which eventually would lead to those humans resenting.
Well, that's
having
what Crest of the
control.
Stars is. Literally humans rising up against these. But the thing is that in Crest of the Stars, humans are the bad guys. Kind of like I'm pointing out here, that the naturals, the racist fucking naturals, are also the bad guys still. Because they're still about killing their own creation. And, you know, being the first ones to strike every time.
And I think that's a part of fantastic racism that's kind of a problem, because when you add the idea that these people are clearly your superiors, not an ideological way, like I feel superior because where I come from, whatever, kind of like space noise, earth noise separation. When you actually give people greater abilities, like, you know, the X-Men problem. It's the X-Men problem. It's like, X-Men exist.
Yeah,
oh,
what
shit.
if every kid is a nuclear weapon just waiting to happen?
Right. It's like, you can say, then you're giving justification for the racism and the bigotry. Like,
I don't think it's justification.
Yeah,
You know,
it is, because you don't know. Because the thing is,
I'm not jealous of Usain Bolt just because Usain Bolt can run faster than me.
can Usain Bolt destroy your home in a single glance?
Okay, coordinators can't do that either. So coordinators are
appearance
better
is
than
that-
me, but a coordinator could kick my ass in a fight. He could win a game of Jeopardy against me any day of the week. He's just a superhuman. He's not Superman, right?
And he would block you or anyone else from
It's
getting
Gattaca.
positions of-
Okay, other media, not anime, but it's
Yeah,
Gattaca,
Gattaca.
right? Where normal
Yeah,
people are like janitors because you can't get anywhere in fucking society. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's not horrible. I mean,
It is if you're a normal
look,
person.
you're making fun of janitors now. Garbage men have pretty good lives. Apparently, they're pretty happy in
There's
their
a-
jobs.
There's a difference between I choose to work as a garbage man, which is a pretty dangerous job too, by the way, and pays well, versus the only job available to me is garbage man, because society decides that I'm
Well, here's the
not
thing,
good
though,
enough.
is what you don't do is you start a genocidal war against these supermen that you created. You know what that does? Noonien Sung Khan. You know? You create your own demons.
Well, that's what happens. But that's a fantastic aspect of it. Is like you create a situation where your fears are justified. Like, oh, if we create better people, they're gonna do to us, because it's the whole thing.
In the backstory of Gundam Seed, those people did not rise up and attack their creators. They were fine, and then they got fucking massacred in the streets by their people. And you know what? They didn't rise up and try to take them out then either. They just tried to get away and live their lives. And you know what? Those people came back and fucking nuked them anyway. And that's where the war started. Constant oppression by normal people. Even after they were no longer... No, Earth. Just the fucking Earth. It's the Earth Alliance nuked Janus 7.
Just the one. Why didn't nuke all of them at once, though?
That never gets indicated to us, at least not to my knowledge. It's what, Bloody Valentine, they call it?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I guess maybe it was just can we fucking get away with this? Like, it's either that or maybe there's more backstory to it. Like, they did try to nuke a bunch of them and they failed or something. Or maybe it was just a smaller group, because that's how these things always seem to fucking start.
Oh, yeah.
A small group got their hands on one nuke.
And then everybody
got the... Blue Cosmos runs the Earth Alliance, as it turns out. But, I don't know, maybe it was like a test. Let's see, what can we get away with? Either way, it's always the Earth Alliance.
Yeah.
They're hands down the bad guys.
True.
I can't blame the victims for the one time that they hit first.
I can blame them for what they chose to do, though. Because again, it also is mass punishment, right? It's like, okay, the leaders did this, maybe the soldiers go along with it, but like every child that was there is like, oh, they're gonna grow up to be potential little fascists, so I got to kill them all before.
Not for nothing, but a lot of them do grow up to be potential fascists. Asriel didn't come from nowhere.
Yeah, but that's because he got bullied. Which is a dumb thing to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not for nothing. They do come from nowhere. Apparently, a bunch of these kids... That's why I said, this is turning into a Sodom and Gomorrah situation. Give me 5 good people, because everyone else here is shit.
Yeah, but that means that God is a dickhead.
Yeah, it is a dickhead.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% atheist because I don't believe in God. God just isn't a person I want to follow.
Anyway, next point.
Yeah, that was a
We have
pretty long note.
We got a lot of notes to go through. Actually, this is a point I had. Interesting that the seaside orphanage had a sophisticated and deep underground bunker ready for use.
Not a particularly well thought out idea, though. I mean, in a normal bunker sense, pretty good. But think about if that whole island just got flooded over. You'd be trapped underwater.
I have a note about that as well. Which will be
another note? How many notes do you have, by the way?
Total, I have 15.
Yeah, I've got like 7. So why don't you go ahead and do your next note that relates to that one?
Okay, I'll jump ahead.
Because not all of mine are like good either. Some of mine are just like, here's a thought.
At 14:15, the kids cry when they see the remnants of the orphanage obliterated by a tsunami. Because they later mentioned that it was a wave that destroyed it. The latter means that the bunker had to be beyond the flood zone. So I'm thinking that it's an island, and the bunker is into the
It's the same island that Kira and Athrun fought on and had the bomb, because Kira had to have been blown from the strike to where the Reverend would have found him, which would have been on the same island. And that's where we see them at the end of that season. So
because we don't see how far they walk, we only see like pictures early of the orphanage, and then they're going.
Well, no, I meant when I was saying that, we got a pan back of that island before during those episodes, so we know exactly how big the island is.
Yeah, it's not a big island, but probably it's up in the mountains. So the bunker.
Well, there's only like
Reverend
3 mountains, 2 mountains, that whole island.
I mean, it has to be outside the flood zone of a regular tsunami. This will be even bigger, I suppose, or multiple ones. Maybe just a one, if just one piece landed near enough.
Oh, the One Piece? Is that where the One Piece is?
Not that One Piece. And it has to be above flood waters. So it probably is on the side of the mountain and then go down. So it has to be deep because they're protecting against an attack of some sort, which means that this Reverend, not Reverend, he's a Catholic priest, I think.
No, he's Reverend. Looking on the board, he's Reverend Malchio or something like that. It's his name. Unless his first name is Reverend, like Fuhrer King Bradley, where King Bradley's name is King.
Yeah. Or he could be Anglican, I suppose, which make him a Reverend.
I'm not even going to try and guess what religion he represents. It's never shown. He's got no iconography in his house.
There's a statue that is shown. It seems like the Virgin Mary, but it's like from the bottom down, so you don't know.
Yeah, I did recognize that at the very beginning before everything at the front of the house. There's a statue, but it's just of a woman.
Yeah. So
could be a Zeon image. I mean, not Zeon, Zaft. Could be a Zaft.
So my take is that it has to be both deep into the mountain, because this bunker seems to be like an anti-bomb shelter as well, right? This guy had enough resources to build a bunker for all his kids in this island. So I guess this place originally wasn't meant to be. It could be an old bunker that looks new. It wasn't really meant for an orphanage.
I mean, I think you're wrong, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Well, by the way, if you don't remember, Reverend Malchio is a respected Zaft figure. That's why he can walk around in society. Not, he's not a Doan's Island guy who just ran away. He's a.
Oh, no, I know. He had resources.
But no, I also don't think that his thing was built into the mountain. If you even remember the shot, because I don't remember you spent much time of it in the movie of the island. It's mostly jungle interior, which we also know got fucking nuked by the double Gundam explosion. And the mountains that are there are in the jungle area. But we also know that Malchio's house is beachside property. And we also know that Kira is actively, at the end of one episode, watching Janus 7 come down, which means that they don't actually have a lot of time to get to the bunker, which is also organize all the kids, literally rounding up kids and getting into the bunker and being there in a safe amount of time. So I have to anticipate it's somewhere nearish the house, which means it's close to the beach.
Which it should have been flooded, but it didn't, because they all come out fine. So,
well, I mean, the argument I think you would make is that they saw the wreckage of the house and there's still a lot of wood planks and shit, which means it didn't all get sucked back out into the sea.
Yeah.
So it's already weird.
It could have been a shockwave, really. That's why it blew it up, more than a wave. But they do say waves later on, so
well, there's also like the half-buried doll that one of the kids picks up, which implies that it did which implies that there is some sort of water factor. Because an explosion would just knocked it and it would be sitting on top of shit or buried under shit, not in the sand. Also, sand, implying it's still on the beach somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
I don't think if you're going to organize a bunch of kids to get to safety real quick and you're actively watching the thing come down, you're getting very far into the jungle, let alone climbing a mountain to get to an entrance of a bunker. So yeah, I think if it was a sufficiently large tsunami, or I don't know if you've seen mock-ups of really large impacts, the idea that it would hit the water and you get a really large tsunami, which would then pucker, I don't know if pucker's the right word here, it would dimple itself back down and then rise up again, creating another tsunami and, repeating small. There's a Neil deGrasse Tyson video about what the impact of the ocean would be like. So this island would be hitting repeatedly by smaller and smaller tsunamis, so that you imagine the water coming in and out would tear away at the surface level of the island, stripping it. So eventually, after I don't know how many tsunamis, could be lower than the surface level of water, which means that if it was ground level bunker or subterranean bunker, they could just be underwater.
Yeah, but they weren't because they got away. So
well, also they didn't I don't feel like this was either it wasn't a large enough impact or not realistically shown, because I believe we also talked about like a nuclear winter scenario, a lot of shit kicked in the atmosphere, and they even talk about there's too much dust in the atmosphere for us to contact orb, but that instantly goes away. Same episode.
What's your next point?
Not so much a point. I will say I don't think I took in the full scale of the impact of Jaina 7's fall. On rewatch, despite the fact it was less harmful than Operation British, they certainly did a few, I don't know why I put the word few in there, they certainly did a better job showing the worldwide impact of destruction. So, for sure destroyed places based on imagery, plus extra locations Durandal mentions: Vatican City, Rome, Athens, someplace in China, I think it may be the Jiangsu, somewhere on the Great Wall of China, Shanghai, Hohenzollern Castle, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I looked up the image of the castle in the episode and then tried to Google search the best representation. It looks like that castle. Kuala Lumpur, Arizona in general, the Gobi Desert, Quebec, Philadelphia, and the North Atlantic.
I mean, it could have been an impact in the North Atlantic. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, that's one. Quebec, Philadelphia, and the Gobi Desert, Quebec, Philadelphia, and the North Atlantic are Durandal's additions to the shit that I had already gotten from. See, some of it's sad, sad for me. Shanghai, I went out of my way to take the image of the city and figure out, okay, that's that building, okay, that's Shanghai. And then I got to the end and Durandal just says, Shanghai. I'm like, fuck. A lot of work
to
for
add
nothing.
To that, because a couple of my notes are just measuring where it hit. It also my also notes it seems like New York City also got flooded as well, because we see a suspension bridge. It kind of looks like the Bronx Bridge, and everything is flooded.
You must be talking about the shot of the city where you see the front of the city along the harbor, and then there's smoke coming up from behind it.
No, there's a bridge. There literally is a bridge, because there's shots also of flooding different places. And there's a bridge.
Well, there's a later shot when they're showing Zaft aiding everybody, bringing down supplies, and they show a city, which is gray background, smoke coming up from behind it, and it's a long shot of the harbor line of the city. I mean, there could be bridges there and everything. I just don't remember.
I know the shot you're talking about, but that's not the shot I'm talking about.
Because I listed every single shot of a place that got destroyed, and New York wasn't in one of them. So maybe you're thinking of Shanghai.
No, I also mentioned Shanghai. But Shanghai gets directly hit. These are areas when they show
Kuala Lumpur, maybe.
No, they're showing images of places that are flooded, just floods.
Oh, I'm talking about the impact sites only.
Yeah, but yeah, I also listed that as well. But there's also flood areas, and one of them appears to be after Sala says Philadelphia, Quebec, and North Atlantic. They show areas that are flooded around the world, and one of them seems like it's New York City or Manhattan.
Oh, you're talking about
flooded.
when the zaft people are coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't take notes of that because I wasn't. That was just background shit for me. I mean, if the North Atlantic got hit, then yeah, sure. Obviously, New York would be right up there for flood.
New York, Boston, Miami, depending how far.
Well, I just meant like East Coast.
Yeah, Eastboard. Yeah, East.
Oh, that was me. You're next.
Okay. So yeah. Arthur's, because a bunch of notes are about the same thing. Arthur's armor-piercing question to Lana Maria's statement that one needs to learn how to shoot a gun to defend from one enemies is, and this is on 2012 on the video. And who's the enemy?
Yeah, because he's quoting his own old statements.
Yeah,
because he literally says that. He says, "I said to somebody once."
And then Chin, in return, questions, what exactly does Arthur do in orb? Perhaps pointing at the fact that Arthur's walking away from using a mobile suit does more harm than good. The episode ends without Arthur answering the question.
Well, yeah, I mean, it goes to my whole what Eileen Canaver did. Here, I'm just gonna read my Eileen Canaver statement, and then we can discuss both points at the same time.
Okay.
So Ramius also has a code name now. So maybe that is what Eileen Canaver's sacrifice was. She gave up her position in order to give the Archangel crew plus Athrun new identities in order to have a chance to live a normal life in the new world that they were trying to create.
Yeah, everybody has her name is Maria. She calls herself Maria, but Arthur recognizes who she is.
Well, of course,
he's his own nurses
active together.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, my point is that they have, to your question or to your statement of Shin's question, what does Athrun do in orb? That's again my point of Eileen Canaver sacrificed, and she was one of the good leaders who had done nothing wrong. And they have the conversation on the bridge of if Athrun got into a mobile suit, Eileen Canaver's sacrifice would have been for nothing, or whatever she did would have been for nothing. And the idea that she's no longer on the council kind of implies that she did give something up to make this happen. What does he do in orb? Maybe he's trying to live a fucking normal life. Maybe what he does in orb isn't like super important because it's just Alex Dino is just a guy.
Yeah, but I think the point that Chin is trying to make, in spite of his shouty, I'm angry at the world kind of situation I mentioned earlier, is you're useless, right? You're here in orb. You could have helped us. He did help eventually when the thing was coming down. It was like you could have been an active participant. You're hiding away from the world. Kind of making comparison between himself and Arthur's like, I joined zaft. I became a pilot. I'm trying to stop this. You're just there. You just you ran away from your responsibilities. You ran away from the situation. And then he says, he actually pities him and all that. But, it's like, you could do something. You could be part of this, do something about this, or just stand and watch and do nothing, right? Just be like I think in a way, Arthur also serving as a standing for Kira. Like literally Kira, the first episode, he's just standing on the beach going like, which is, we know why they're doing that. We understand why they walked away from all the violence and death and all the people they killed and got killed because they were doing and people didn't protect. But from Chin's perspective, whose experience is my family got killed and I couldn't protect them, right? And now I joined to stop a war, is like, motherfuckers, get off get off the fence. You gotta choose a side, right?
I mean, I think Shin is the stand-in for Kira. Because I mean, obviously, they've got matching stories going on.
Yeah, but in the case of Chin talking to Arthur, those questions that he's saying to Arthur also apply to Kira as well, because Kira is just.
I mean, it would if Shin is like, come back with us to zaft, but he's not, and then Athrun makes that choice up on his own. Sorry, I think I went the wrong way with that one. You said Athrun was the mirror to Kira this season.
A mirror, stand-in.
Well, again, I
Because
don't think so, though. One, because Kira's fucking here. But,
yeah. No,
uh,
I'm talking in the way of like when Chin directs those questions to Arthur, right? What are you gonna do, right? In a way, those things also echo with Kira because Kira is also contemplating. He's sitting at the beach, with his girlfriend and the kids. Stuff is happening. He's like, and then we have this. Well, there's notes about what happens later in the next episode, but it's like you two are also standing by and doing nothing, right?
I mean, I'm just thinking about it in the perspective of what was Kira doing in this part of the first season, and it's a bunch of Atherin come back with me to Zaft, and Kira's my friends are here, and not a lot of that going on here where I think it's an effective stand-in situation. Because the difficulty here is that Atherin is a character from the first season in the second season.
Yeah.
So his questions are based on things that happened before. He's giving wisdom from events in the past. Same way Luna Mary is like, you're a hero to us, and then describes his entire backstory. And it's like,
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, here's a conversation I once had. See how it fits your lives. It's very much he's the wise, even though he's like the same age as everybody, he's the wizened figure amongst a bunch of babes, as it were. And nobody fit that in the first season. Like Kira wasn't the wizened figure; he was learning as he went, same as everybody.
Yeah, maybe that's what it takes to stop a war. Know that the consequences of it.
Well, unfortunately, that's the hard problem here. Is that we're in the Starship Troopers scenario, right? Starship Troopers goes on, the more experienced people die off, and the younger people rise up, and that's the problem. Is that you're based on half experiences of the middle generation is constantly the generation in charge. All right. So I have to wonder what Neo's role in all of this is. They pulled back once the Minerva. What the fuck am I typing? I typed this at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That must have been 12 o'clock. They pulled back once the Minerva explained the situation. What the fuck does that mean? Stupid me. Stupid me from 2 hours ago. But didn't actively help to stop Janus 7 from falling once they knew. More so, they sent pretty damning pictures back to HQ, and I have to wonder what the intent was. Were the photos specifically for recon purposes and just a normal report back? Or were they intentionally given as fuel for the political machine that is starting up?
Well, remember that it was Jibri who gave the order to Neo to go and recon.
Yeah, investigate. But he didn't say investigate for what purpose. So is Neo specifically sending information politically motivated? Or is he sending just information back and Jibri is using it as he sees fit? What is Neo's point of view in this scenario?
I think so far Neo and Jibri are on the same page, or he could have sent a fuller report, and it was Jibri was the images that Jibri chose deliberately were the ones that were the most damning, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. What I fucked up at the very beginning of that statement is that Phantom Pain shows up, starts fighting with them, notices what they're doing, gets all angry about what's going on here, then gets the message from Minerva about, hey, stop, we're trying to stop the situation. They pull back. They don't try to help stop the situation, even though they were previously angry about this happening. They just fucking pull back. So they're not actively trying to stop Janus 7 themselves from falling. They're angry that Zaft would do this, but they don't help. So Neo, angry that they would attack the Earth, doesn't help defend the Earth, then sends information back that could be politically motivated to incite more violence. So it's like, what is Neo's exact... Where is he stand on all of this?
Also, the fact that when these guys come in, they attack everybody.
Well, it's because it appears like Zaft is 100% in this. Then they have to tell... Minerva has to tell them in an emergency code that, oh, no, these are like somebody else. We're trying to stop them. Stop attacking us, please. As you can see us, we're actively attacking other Zaft things. If if you take a step back and look, and they're like, oh shit, yeah, okay, takes a step back. In fact, we're leaving. We're not even going to try and defend our own planet. We're just going to leave. At which point, is he doing that on orders? Or is he doing that out of his own point of view? It's like, so I'm asking, what is Neo's very specific point of view here? Because, as we've seen throughout the first season, a ship out there on its own can get up to its own shit if it wants to.
Yeah.
So is Neo going to turn at some point? Is Neo 100% in on this? At what point is Neo about Earth?
I mean, we also don't know who Neo. I think that answer will come just like it happened with Rue. The moment we realize who Neo really is, which stands for new, by the way, which is an interesting choice. New what exactly? And we will get the answers together. Like once we figure out who he is, like, oh shit! So
because
this
remember
is
that they also have like the pods on the ship for the three. I almost call them coordinators, whatever they are.
Yeah, super soldiers.
Well, because he insists that they were made in a lab and everything. So there's a lot about Phantom Pain vis-a-vis those three people and Neo. I guess maybe the captain of the ship too, but Captain doesn't have a lot going on. Captain might as well be Dren here.
Yeah. Or they could be coordinators that they found a way to control them in such a fashion that they could use them, right? Because if they might be a third faction who doesn't want to kill the coordinators, he wants to actually enslave them. Right?
I will remind you, because I know that you don't often remember notes that I've previously given, the indication that the original three from the last season were considered like biocomputers.
Yeah, bio CPUs, yeah.
Yeah, that were required to control the Gundams and everything like that. Yeah. That the indication being that these might just be... Because Neo makes a reference to those three, and that these three are better versions of that. He doesn't say that exactly. He says something that sounded a lot like that to me, and I just can't remember what phrase he said.
Yeah.
But the idea there that this is just a continuation of something that was happening last season, and that was happening under Asriel's purview. And now we've got this guy.
My next point, I think I'm done with this episode, so we go to episode 8, Junction. Now, you mentioned multiple times that you believe Orb is Japan. And here we have this should have been, I think this gets mentioned before, but if it isn't, I'm going to go into this. Onogoro Island is a part of Orb Archipelago. Onogoro was the place where, in Japanese Shinto myth, the gods Izanagi and Izanami raised a stone from the sea, walked around the stone until they met, married, and started a divine family. The Japanese imperial family traced their ancestry to this event. This Onogoro is the founding pillar of both the islands of Japan and the nation, meaning essentially that Orb is Japan.
I guess I never explained to you why I thought Orb was Japan.
Yeah.
Because what you just said, I said that in the first season. Obviously, I must have not have said it to you during the movies. I had literally looked up the words. I don't know if they must be the same place. They went to a location at Orb, and I looked up that location name, and there is like a shrine to something like that on an island off the coast of Japan. So I was like, oh, they went to an island off the coast of Japan then. So if all of Orb is the nation, not just that island, then all of Orb must be Japan. Also, the conceit that in anime, Japan tends to put itself in a very important spot in the world. So, I didn't say all the Shinto stuff. I just talked about the real world points of which...
It would also explain why Orb would be neutral, but eventually would side with the North American Alliance, because we see it as the United States, because the President of the United States comes in and has a White House and does a proclamation.
Well, there's also the element that the Atlantic Alliance took efforts during the Operation Split Break to eliminate large portions of its own military, large portions of the other Alliance members' military. To make itself the most important, or at least the most powerful part of the Alliance, the most powerful alliance in the Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, these are things I was doing in Season 1, like the whole Kigali gives Athrun a necklace and literally names a goddess or something like that, and talked about the fact that that goddess in actual real-world mythos is somebody, one, that left humanity behind, like the coordinators did, and what is a fertility god. I went through the whole thing about how funny it is Kigali gave this to Atherin, and how much this goddess actually represents coordinators, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And it's Kigali a natural giving it to a coordinator. Or I guess not a natural. It's fucking hard to figure out what Kigali actually is.
It's be my baby daddy necklace.
Well, I mean, Atherin just gave her a ring, so clearly it's reciprocated. Yeah. Alright, just an oddity about Gibral. He says the Blue Cosmos line for the preservation of our blue and pure world, but I guess he doesn't really care about the preservation part, considering he has a whole conversation about not caring that the Parthenon got destroyed.
That conversation, I was going to make a note about that, but I didn't, because the feeling I get about basically the destruction of all these places, especially it starts with Rome and it starts with Athens, this is an event that sort of is supposed to, although we get more modern.
Well, it's supposed to wipe away the old world, is what I'm saying. You're saying the concentration on China. I guess that might be just a Japanese thing, but the concentration on China is also, China is an element of the old world. So they went Greek and China. They didn't do a lot for Egypt, because I think you would do Egypt too if you're doing destruction of the old world. That might just be representational, but I don't know, the seed of the old world, because the seed of the old world is what Greek gave us, what, democracy and...
Greco-Roman seed, and religion, democracy, religion again, commerce, and then there's cities that get destroyed.
I just mean that they focused on China. Like, the ones that got hit multiple times was China and, Italy. And the
United States gets hit a couple of times as well.
Well, like twice. And
empty spaces.
I guess North America gets hit 3 times. Yeah. About as many times as they show China getting hit, and Italy. Because, I mean, the Vatican. So, yeah. But again, the fact that the Blue Cosmos line is the preservation of our blue and pure world, and he's like, it's just a thing. They'll rebuild it or something. I don't fucking care. It's like, you just said the preservation thing yourself. You do know what preserve means, right? Are you just into jam?
Oh, he could be an anarcho-primitivist, ultimately. Like, he wants to go back to being, hunter-gatherers and stuff like that, Let's go back to that. And there's some people out there who do believe that shit, so... Yeah,
I mean, they do the horsemanship thing all the time. They could be all about the fox hunts.
So my next note, I guess. This is about Juna. Juna gets too handsy with Kigali. He's a scumbag. I'm going to call him. He's a scumbag.
Sorry, my thing is that you keep saying Juno.
Juna.
It's with Y. Yuna. I don't know if that's actually how it's pronounced. I'm not mocking you about pronunciation, but you're saying Juno. And I'm hearing Juno. Like, well, was it Saturn's moon or is that
no, Juno is the god of it's a head of the pantheon of the Roman pantheon.
Well, it's also a town in Alaska. There's just a lot of Juno in
Alaska, But
hold on, it is a moon. Juno. Yeah. Oh no, it's Juno. Oh, Jupiter moon. No, Juno spacecraft. Juno spacecraft studied Jupiter's moons. I could have sworn it was a moon, though.
No, because you have Jupiter.
No, Juno is a moon of Jupiter. Whatever. Anyway, I have it associated with a lot of stuff, and you keep saying Juno, and I'm like, who the fuck am I forgetting? Who's Juno? And in my head, his name is Yuna, because it is Y-U-N-A, like Yuna Leska, and from Final Fantasy, also the character Yuna from Final Fantasy. He's got the name of that character, so in my head, it's Yuna.
Whose dad is the Prime Minister of Orb?
Well, no, he's a representative.
Then literally, no.
He's a representative of Orb, and Kigali is the chief representative. That's why they bow to her when they come.
Yeah, but when they talk about it, I think in the subtitle say Prime Minister.
I don't know. I wrote it down when they called him a representative. So if they call him representative and then later call him a prime minister, I don't know. Either way, he's under Kigali.
Technically speaking, he doesn't act that way though. But
well, no, he acts like he's an older man, and she is a young woman in a society that is very patriarchal. Let me tell you what you don't know while you weren't here. But we can't do that. I know you think that, but let me tell you what you don't know about the relationships we've been trying to garner while you weren't here. They still have to explain everything to her because she's still technically the chief representative. Again, that's also why they bow to her. Anyway, you were talking about Juna, or whatever you want to call them.
Yuna gets too handsy with Cagalli. He is a scumbag. I'm calling it.
I think they're in a relationship. I think this is the Cameron Mirai relationship from 79.
Except that, at least
I think it's a political marriage that was set up. We didn't see it in season 1 because we didn't see these characters. And now it's coming into play. And she's like, oh, thank you, I guess. She's not like pulling away. She's acting the same way as when Atherin hugged her in season 1. This is uncomfortable, but I know you, so...
Yeah, but the guy calls him out and was like, stop it. I know you're excited, but stop it,
Yeah.
You're in public. You're embarrassing her.
Again, though, I think it's going to be like another sci-flay sort of thing, where this was a setup thing, and I think he is abusing the situation, but I don't think he's a creep. No, I don't think he's like a creep. I think he's like, I have political aspirations. She's the chief representative. We're gonna get married. I just brought up Yuna from Final Fantasy. What was the blue guy from the same game that Yuna's in?
I don't play a lot of Final Fantasy.
Oh, Final Fantasy X, there's the guy who is like, he's a very important political figure. He's supposed to get married to Yuna, or at least they keep saying stuff like that. And Yuna's not like into him that much, but she's gonna do it because it's politically important. But of course, she's in love with the main character, who's the main character of the game.
Is that the character that goes like,
yeah. Because he's fake. People make fun of it. He's fake laughing to try and get Yuna to fake laugh as well. Things are bad right now, but if you fake laugh enough, maybe they'll become a real laugh. That's why it's so bad laugh. It's a bad laugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the feel. It's analogous to a lot of like fake political marriages situations.
Yeah. But still, I think the guy himself is coming.
I don't know. It's not. I mean, I could see it. I could see it coming into play very easily, but I don't think that's what's happening. To be fair, this is a 2000s anime. That's common 2000 anime trope. But I could see him easily being Cameron from 79.
But Cameron, he came up with somebody who was genuinely worried about Mirai, right? And someone was like, "Oh man," and when he gets punched in the face, and then gets the glasses, like, "Oh, I guess I don't know how to court a woman correctly." You know?
Yeah, I know. He's a real simp, Cameron.
Yeah, he's simping, but heart of gold, Cameron. There. Well,
yeah, I just mean that he is the same way as Sai, right? He's the same as Sai. It's just Sai, Cameron. He is an archetype of a character, and until he does something, I don't have anything to say. His motivations are
it
negative.
kind of reminds me of talking about anime, comparisons. I've been watching a lot of. I told you off screen, so people know that the way I balance all this death and destruction that I see in Gundam and everything else and Frontier. I'm now watching a lot of rom-coms. Just funny. It's actually kind of funny and fun for me anyway. One of them is Rent a Girlfriend, and spoilers. This is literally the first scene, right? It's this guy's like in college, first year in college. He's like, "Wow, I'm so happy. I have a girlfriend," right? And like moments later, he meets the girlfriend, and the girlfriend turns around and goes like, "Yeah, I'm gonna break up with you," right? And then she spends later on when he seems to be moving on, hence the Rent a Girlfriend thing. She basically becomes jealous and tries to ruin him, right? And becomes very handsy with him, and those kind of things like, "Oh, hey, I'm with you," whatever. And that's the feeling I get. But that's a female example called Mami. They call her Mami-san. Mami-san.
It just occurred to me also, by the way, we've talked about this off screen. When you were talking about Rent a Girlfriend, and I thought, "Oh, that sounds very familiar," and I said that out loud, and I saw trailers. I think I've been thinking of Date A Live.
No. That's not.
I know it's not. Obviously, I know it's not. I'm just saying that I think maybe that's what I'm remembering when you've been saying rent a girlfriend.
Yeah, same.
Well, I think it's the idea that there's supernatural entities in the world that are
No.
that's day-to-day life is supernatural entities in the world, but they take the form of girls, and he's got to date them in order to stop them from destroying the world. So he's got it's a harem anime thing, but he's got to make them happy to make them not destroy the world.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Well, maybe you should look it up. It's like 5 seasons long from 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, Yuna is indescript at the moment. I didn't see anything creepy. Like, this isn't like Sword Art Online where the doctor or the other guy turns out to be like a fucking and he's like, oh god, I hope she wakes up, and then when the guy's looking, there's something real creepy to her in front of him that nobody else sees, and it's like,
yeah, I'm gonna marry you, you're gonna be mine and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, like, he's petting her hair, god, I hope she wakes up soon, and the other adults in the room look away, and the main character's like looking at him, licks her, like, oh, what the fuck, man, you're clearly something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
But nobody else saw it, just me. What the fuck? That sort of thing. He just hugged her. It's like, it seemed like a normal hug. She reacted the same way as when Athrun hugged her, as when
but the way he grabs
Kira.
her, and then he looks back to Arthur and is like, oh yeah, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah, to be fair, in 2 different segments he does that. He didn't hug her and then look at Athrun while he's doing it. He hugs her, and they act normally, and then he talks down to Athrun as they're leaving. They're 2 different things.
Holding her by the shoulders, like guiding her. She's like, "Oh, what the hell?" Like, and she keeps.
Well, to be fair, she's got important business to do.
Yeah, but she can walk. She was walking normally. She didn't need to be pushed by the shoulders.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it feels more like just what Athrun and Kigali do. They're representing the same relationship that Athrun and Kigali had in season 1. Like when they're floating through the ship together, and then he like hugs her real quick. It's the same uncomfortable look that Kigali had back then. She's now having it with this guy, and I think the implication is that Kigali and Athrun are in a relationship now, but this guy thinks he's Athrun from season 1.
Yeah, and
she's like a little more hesitant because I've got a guy on the side, and you're my political relationship. This is Flay, Kira, and Sai, just with 3 different people.
That didn't turn out well, by the way, because Flay was a manipulated bitch.
Right.
She felt she felt guilty about it, and she had internal turmoil. But bitch. I liked her. She was a very interesting character. I didn't want her to spoil it for first season. People haven't watched it. You probably know because you watch this now, but still. I didn't want her to die. It was very cruel what happened to her. I fell for her, but still, she was a manipulative bitch, right? This guy might turn out to be like that. Like, he has a tragic backstory. He really means well, but it's the kid in the classroom that you cannot feel sorry for until they open their mouth and they say something horrible, and you're like,
well, that's why you don't have any friends. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I just mean that it is the relationship triangle of that. I don't mean to indicate one of these people is going to turn out to be Flay.
Yeah.
I mean, for all we know, since we're not misrepresenting, we're differently representing people, it could be Athrun that's Flay, and Athrun is going to manipulate everyone so that he winds up with Kigali and this other guy fucks off. It doesn't have to be the same manipulations or the same motivations.
I don't think Athrun has it in it, especially after he basically.
I think he does. He is the politically motivated character. He's going back to Zaft the same way he went back to Zaft to see his dad the last time. He's got to make sure everything is fine politically. I think if you're good at playing the political game, you're going to be good at every other manipulation.
He didn't work with his dad, though.
Kind of did.
Not really.
His dad's dead. He's still here. He showed up at his dad's twice. Guns were pulled every time.
He didn't stop his dad the first time around. Actually, it was.
You don't look. Flay is also dead. You don't have to be. You don't have to win the politics game to be good at it.
What makes you good at it if you're not winning? At least
everything revolves around you is what makes you good at it. Flay was the manipulator. She wasn't. She didn't win the game, but she was the prime motivator of like 2 characters that revolved around her.
Yeah, more like having
to be a good manipulator, you have to have people wrapped around you, constantly thinking about you, everything like that. You don't have
He
to
doesn't
win. You
seem
don't have to
to
win the
be-
game because a bad motivator can't maintain that. A bad manipulator can't maintain that. A bad manipulator will push people away and not want them to deal with them. They kept that circle going until they eventually got killed by outside means. Just the fact that they died and didn't win the game doesn't mean that we're bad at manipulating.
I mean, Kira dumped her, so
Well, no, they were gonna have a talk about it, and then a lot of shit happens, and then she gets like not kidnapped, but like
she got captured. Yeah.
well, I don't know if it's kidnapping if you get rescued. Like if she had,
Was she
if
really-
she didn't get taken by Rao, she would have died
Yeah.
at the base. So,
Rao was a real manipulator who basically literally told him, "Take this information; it's going to stop the war." And it turned out that it was the opposite.
the difference here is that Rao was doing it so low key that we didn't really understand what he was doing until the end, where he fucking tells us.
So that makes him a real manipulator because nobody knew what he was doing.
Yeah, but not the main one, because Flay did it to our faces, and we kept rotating around her. So that's why Flay was the good one. Rao was the best, but not the main one. If you have to explain to me that I'm being manipulated, one, you're bad because you explained it to me. But Flay was literally doing it in our face. Like, people were getting in fights around her because of her, and we all know it's because of her, and we're still doing it. So,
yeah,
it's irresistible.
simply irresistible.
All right, I'm down to 3, so I'm
Go ahead.
penultimate. Penultimate. So Atherin was a part of the National Defense Committee. God, you gotta see my spelling. This is atrocious. A Special Forces unit called Faith. Something I don't recall hearing about. Apparently it happened after he defeated the Strike, but before he piloted the Justice. So I guess a bit of off-screen material on Atherin's side.
I mean,
Must
he still
be
was
in a
important.
manga.
Yeah, an important figure. I mean, his father was like, "Oh, you're gonna." In fact, his father was like, "You're gonna have to. I'm gonna give you this new mech, the new Gundam for you to pilot." It's like he apparently, thought highly of
think
his
about
skills.
the timeline here, though. He defeats the Justice. That's point
Yeah.
1. He defeats the Justice.
Uh-huh.
He gets assigned the Strike. What happened between those two things?
Yeah.
He gets recovered by Orb. He gets sent back to Zaft. The guy in the place where he's walking in tells him that Lacus has betrayed them. And he's shocked about that. At what point? So somewhere in that tiny lecture,
I mean, he was no longer working with Rao. That's for sure. Rao was still doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, he
gonna get
defeats
reassigned,
the
yeah.
Strike. Well, no, he defeats the Strike. And when he's walking into the building, he's going there to talk to his dad, who then he has to report everything to. And then his dad assigns him the Justice. So literally, there's nothing really on screen that we see between those 2 points, specifically about him getting assigned to the National Defense Committee Special Forces unit called Faith. So that all had to have been off screen.
Yeah.
But this is also the first time we're hearing about any force called Faith. Maybe that's what Neo... No, sorry, not Neo. Maybe that's what the bad Zaft is. Because it had to have been something under Patrick. Because
close to him, maybe his loyalist.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's what the Justice was under, apparently. Because if he's getting assigned the
Yeah.
Justice as a member of Faith, that's like... One, that's secret intel, because the Justice is a thing we don't fucking want anyone to know about.
Yeah, but this is post-war, so I guess.
Well, no,
it might
this
have
was
come out.
during the war.
Yeah, no, but the knowledge that some other people might have it post-war.
Oh,
So
yeah. Well, no, I
so
just mean that whatever Faith is or was, it was obviously a higher tier group, because it had to have operated underneath Patrick.
It seems like the protectors, really the bodyguards for the council. So, and by extension,
National Defense Committee, yeah.
Yes, and by extension, his father, right?
Right,
So,
but yeah, I'm saying if it's that closely tied to Patrick,
yeah,
and they're name dropping it now, a thing that we've never heard of before, and we've got a Zala faction.
Yeah, it might
that
be
maybe
them.
the Zala faction is Faith. Also, they fucking called it Faith.
Yeah.
We got Faith in Patrick.
Okay, my next note. The conversation between Talia and Maria, and I know they changed her name. Her actual name is
Well, you're calling her Maria, which is the name change.
Yeah. She gets changed to Maria Bernice. Bernice? Sounds like a dog. Anyway, the conversation between Talia and Maria seems like a passing of the torch from one captain to another and marking the Minerva as a new hero ship, of course. Counting, of course, that since this is episode 8 and the Minerva has been the central ship, the Minerva was already the hero ship, but sort of cementing, or is.
You know what I'm saying? Is that your whole thought? Because I literally, my last note, not the one I have next up, but my last note is literally, I think, talking about the same exact thing, so we should probably combine them.
It's not my last thought, but
no. My last thought, I have like one like throwaway thought, and then my last one is literally on the same subject. So is that the end of yours? Okay. Let's combine then. I think they were trying to be cute by having Talia and Ramius have a conversation about the fact that Minerva never really got an official launch, as the Archangel really didn't either. So that it would be like some captain-to-captain talk, just without one of them knowing. Except, it was Batgirl that captained the Archangel out of dock. Ramius became captain after the whole ordeal. So it's not really a one-for-one, as Batgirl was the one in Talia's position to begin with, and she's dead now.
Yeah, but we see Arthur, when she comes in, Arthur is saluting.
Okay, here's that's my throwaway thought. I totally missed that Arthur was giving Ramius the googly eyes when she walked up.
And Talia just, I don't think
it's a matter of recognition from Arthur's part. He was just looking at a beautiful woman and like, that's why Talia, she gets ear pulled. Yeah. And then he even still googly eyeing his way out.
Which is weird because Talia is a superior officer and he could just shout an order like, snap to or something like that. Which I'm finding prediction. Arthur and Talia either already had something in the past because how they talk to each other, or they're going to have something in the future.
No. I disagree. I disagree. I'm sorry. I'm not shutting you down here. I'm just saying I don't think so. I think Arthur is just a comedy character. I don't think it has anything to do with race. Sorry, it's from hearing him in the English dub. I think Arthur is just that's the thing. There's implications about accents and attitudes and everything about how characters are supposed to be acting that I don't really pick up in the just Japanese itself. But when they want to heavily imply it, they typically do something in the English dub that I obviously then pick up on. And Arthur is, one, he's the only British guy for some reason. Two, he's given all these comedy bits, like not just like jokes or anything, but like, when somebody needs to freak out in a situation, he's the guy who does it. Just he's the comic relief on the bridge. So having him do that to Ramius, just like, oh, beautiful woman. He's just that guy. I am the uptight British officer, so I'm gonna be the guy who's like thrown by a beautiful lady all of a sudden. Yeah, and the fact that we also saw Talia and Durandal together.
That doesn't mean it's gonna last. People, it could be again, they know each other and sleeping together, but there's not, Durandal doesn't seem to be that attached to Talia.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know if they're attached or not, but we also played that he might just be abusing his the power difference between them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But again, I think you're wrong only because I think Arthur is a comedy character. I don't think he's supposed to be taken seriously. Not right now anyway. He might later. He's certainly not like a bad girl to Ramius from season 1 relationship. Yeah. Where Batgirl had to keep telling Ramius about how it would be a serious captain. You need to think about things logically and think about the combat scenarios and discipline among the crew. And Ramius is like, yeah, but I'm the emotional center of this ship. I care more about people getting back safely than I am about winning the combat. And, Ramius is like, no, Batgirl is like, well, I'm probably going to get you up on court-martial when we actually get back to base. And she's like, you're going to be a good captain one of these days. I'll put my word in for you. And one of these two is dead.
Yeah. Killed by the other. Sort of.
No. Well, I guess technically if you don't think that Azrael had a hand in it.
Azrael was given the orders and she followed them until she didn't.
Well, my point is more that Batgirl wasn't in control of the ship when Marius is attacking it. because she refuses orders, gets shot, and then Azrael jumps on the controls and starts making the firing decisions and everything. So technically,
And
she's
then-
fighting Azrael when she kills Bad Girl.
Anyway,
Again, also arguing that Azrael didn't kill Bad Girl.
so that was your last thought?
Well, it was my throwaway thought and my last thought. You hit me with
Okay,
everything at once when you hit every part of that thing.
Yeah. The minister is an idiot and also a coward.
Which one?
At a moment of the guy who spoke up, what's his name? Unato. The guy with the sunglasses, basically. The yellow sunglasses.
No, orange, but yeah, keep going.
Yeah. At the moment of right intention, he took the easy way out by siding with the Atlantic Alliance. While one might argue that staying neutral didn't protect Orb, he also has to know that the Alliance cannot be trusted, and it was them and not the plant that attacked his country.
Well, I don't think he's stupid. Technically, I am also slightly confused about how Orb is its own entity right now to make these decisions. Because technically, the Atlantic Alliance already took over Orb.
Maybe part of the...
That was the whole thing that... God, I can't remember his name.
Did. Remember, the fleet got
since you were
destroyed.
talking about the Song Lion earlier, and the old guy who used to control Orb was the Lion of Orb. No, because when the Earth... I keep on saying Earth Alliance. Technically, it was Earth Alliance then, because it wasn't just the Atlantic Alliance. When they sent the demands to Orb to capitulate, remove your armies and everything. I don't remember how much that's covered in the movie.
Yeah.
When they send their demands over and he declines it, the idea is that the Earth Alliance is going to take over Orb, like completely, because those were the demands sent. Is that your ruling council disbands, your army disbands, you just become a part of the alliance. You're no longer a self-controlled nation anymore. And then they defeat Orb. The council literally blows itself up. So I don't understand how they're not actively under control of the alliance right now.
It might be that they suffered so heavy casualties, and as part of clearly they were part of the negotiations after, because one could argue that the 3-ship alliance Orb was entitled to side. Remember, Kigali was still in control.
I don't think
she's
that's
still
true.
around.
I don't think that's true because there was other unaligned nations in the show before too.
Yeah, but she didn't capitulate to them, so technically she's still in charge.
We also saw the peace conference, and Orb wasn't present.
Yeah, Kigali was there though.
No, we see Eileen Canaver and some Zaft guy.
Yeah,
it could be part of the giant table.
Yeah, it could well be part of the negotiations. Like,
maybe they were part of the Earth Alliance at the time, and that they were pseudo present at the table, and that the Earth Alliance was there.
It might be that because of the casualties the Earth Alliance suffered in the battle, and they had other priorities, that they basically were able to negotiate a sort of a climb back. But that would explain why the Northern Alliance had so much influence, to the point that Kigali would go to try to talk to Durandal, and Durandal says to her, "Oh, it's the Northern Alliance, Atlantic Alliance that's putting pressure on you." And we do see a scene where she's at the table, and on one side there's SAFT officers, and the other one is that's in the first episode when they're talking back and forth.
Yeah, that was the table. That's where I keep pointing out. That's
Eileen Kigali is there. Kigali is there.
I don't think
she's
she
at the end
is.
of the table.
Look, I'm trying to interrupt you specifically before you just keep repeating she is, because my point is I don't think she is. We're not going to have a 5-minute debate about remembering mental images. This is we just don't believe each other. It doesn't matter. Because I don't think we're...
It's a leave it to the comments.
Yeah, I'd prefer that, because that's engagement. My point, though, is that I don't think he's dumb beyond the question of how they're independent. I don't think he's dumb specifically for all of Shin's concerns. Your fucking idealism killed everybody I cared about. You know what? Maybe you either should have leaned into Zaft, who was literally offering you help back when this fight happened the first time, or capitulated and everyone I love would have been alive. And what are they doing now? They're capitulating, and they're explaining why they're capitulating, which is to say, how would it look if we backed Zaft or we showed remorse for what Zaft believes is the case right now, will be exactly where we were 18 months ago. And we don't want a repeat of 18 months ago, and Shin is somewhere on a ship, like, shooting guns at a target going, yeah! Fuck yeah! We don't want to repeat that.
But he's with Zaft, so...
Yeah,
Oops.
and Zaft had nothing to do with Orb getting attacked.
No, but it did have
Zaft offered to help.
Had a hand at attacking the Earth, which starts this war, which means if Orb says with
different faction of Zaft is what you're talking about.
True.
I'm talking about specifically they're not dumb because they're looking at what happened literally 7 months ago and enacting a policy that represents literally less than a year's worth of change. They're saying everything Shin is saying, basically. That what the old guy did was dumb. It caused a lot of people to die. It was based on idealism and not actually what the physical world represented. And now they're saying they're putting the same demands on Zaft as they did a year ago. And what happened last time? We got attacked. Our citizens died. We had to evacuate large sections of our country. We can ill afford another Klendathu.
But that eventually becomes the fact that Chin was a member or was a citizen of Orb. Well, now as a member of Zaft, will have to fight against Orb because Orb has joined in with the rest of the Earth Alliance.
Well, that's a possibility. It's not a guarantee.
I mean, they're going to ask for troops. I mean, Orb has high technology.
This was This was a point that I brought up during Season 1. The stupidity of the capitulation notice that Atlantic Federation gives. We want you to both surrender. We want you to stand down as leaders of the country, and we want you to disband your army. It's like, well, if you already thought that they would disband their leadership, why would you want them to disband their army? You could fucking use that. You don't have to build a whole new army. If they were going to get rid of their government, like if they were going to capitulate to Step 1, then Step 2 is meaningless. You could have a standing army already.
Yeah, but it's an army that another leader could use to try to fight.
Well, you would be the next leader. But I mean, my point is that if you thought that they were going to surrender to the demand that they step down, well, you need an army. You're actively engaging in a fight with Zaft. You could use it. You know what they're not going to do? They're probably not going to rebel against you in Orb if you send them all to fucking space. Especially when you don't think you have any enemies left on the planet. Anyway, or send them to Carpathia, which is literally the Australian Zaft base, which is literally just south of Orb.
Next point, which I think you're going to agree with.
You always think that. Turns out to not be the case most of the time.
Well, let me read it first. Kigali's clearly out of her depth here and will have to show more political acumen if she and by extension her nation are to survive the war to come. I should have put the. The fact that she allowed herself to continue a relationship with Yuna shows how currently she's too weak politically.
I don't know that she's weak politically. She is not a...
if she had been in a stronger position...
Well, I don't know what the word I'm looking for here is. She's not good at speechifying. I don't know if she's not good at explaining her position.
She's good at politics.
Well, she could be good. She could be good at relationships, right? I'm establishing relationships between different countries, and that, I believe that if she called up Durandal right now asking for help, he would help. Because she's established a relationship with a man on a personal level. And that is good. That is old school.
While she was away, these people basically sold the farm under her, because she doesn't want to do that. And she doesn't have enough pull to reverse that decision.
Well, no, I'm not saying that she doesn't have the pull. I think that she doesn't have the good argument. That's what I'm saying. Her arguments are like, but this or but that. I saw that thing. The money's in your house, Mrs. Farmer. The money's in your house, Doctor. She is not good at talking to groups. So that when they gang up on her, when they gang up on her to tell her why she's wrong, she's got nothing but hearsay argument about why they're wrong. And she can't debate the situation. She's got the power and the authority She's just
No,
not
she
good
doesn't.
at
Not yet.
convincing. She does. She's chief
No, she doesn't.
representative.
No, she has the title, but that title holds no power because she cannot convince people to do the things
That
she wants
doesn't
to
mean
do.
that she
That's
doesn't
it.
have the authority. She has the authority. She doesn't have the will to use it.
Well, that's the same thing when it comes to power. I'm talking about political power.
Well, no,
You can
the power exists. Her inability to use it does not mean that the power doesn't exist.
Yeah, but she doesn't have it. The power right now resides with the
It
rest of the.
is what you would call in scientific circles potential energy. The potential
Which she
energy
doesn't-
exists.
Which she doesn't have. She doesn't have right at the moment.
Right. But at any moment, this is an anime. At any moment, she could find the willpower inside of her, or be inspired by some shit.
Which is what I said, that she has to find the acumen in order to. That's why I used
Well,
the word
again, it's
acumen.
using the word acumen. It implies that she doesn't have it there already. Again, this is a Kigali from the beginning of season 1, where she's full of willpower, full of strength. She rushes. She's the one that tells Kira how to fight on the sand, or how to lure them out into the explosion of the trap. She has all of that in her, and then she became weaker-willed as the story went on, to the point where she can't have a debate with somebody because she starts stuttering, breaking down, inability to convey the thoughts that she's having. She has me syndrome. She's me. It's like me for real. Anyway, yeah. So I guess this is going to be the mirror course, where she's starting from that weak-willed place, and she's going to build back up to the rebel fighter that she was at the beginning of season 1. Because I believe that she has all the knowledge she needs. She has the authority of position. What she lacks is the willpower to argue anymore. I don't know what breaks you out of that, because she wasn't that person to begin with.
Okay, next point. Arthur will fail in his endeavor to convince Chairman Durandal to accept any peace, since Durandal, rightfully at this point, believes that he must have superior firepower in order to protect Plant. It is the Alliance that must stop their attacks before any peace can be achieved. Otherwise, any action by the Sala faction will simply trigger either the submission of Plant or its destruction.
Well, I mean, there's the element that you already believe that Durandal is probably evil. So you don't think he'll succeed because deep down he doesn't want to. So.
Oh, no, it's not. I mean, he's a man who's, let me put it this way. I think he's a man who, like, I prefer peace. I'll take that if they give me peace. But the moment they give him war, it's like, you bitches fucked up. I'm going to kill you all.
Well, there's also the element of his face that I don't know why. I had to go
smirks.
back to a number. Well, they're not smirks. I don't think they're smirks. That's what I'm talking about. I can't tell if he's being tight-lipped at a Dutch angle, or, because it is. Sometimes he's like this to the screen, and then he goes,
yeah.
It's like, So I can't tell if he's Dutch angled, tight-lipped, like, this is a rough situation we're in, or if he's like slight crinkle, like grin, like, they're right where I want them in that tough position. Yeah, I can't tell. Yeah. He's a hard read. He's like the characters in the always evil characters in anime. The people are always like this. It's like, are your eyes closed? Like the Reverend Malchio in any other anime would be the bad guy.
But he's blind this one, so yeah. It's like, I mean, he could blind and the bad guy, but being blind doesn't make you the bad guy.
Yeah.
Being close-eyed, being the bad guy, because you don't want to show emotion.
Right. So it's a hard tell. He's a hard read, and again, he's got like background nicknames with Ray. So I don't know what the hell that was.
That's why I find him compelling.
Yeah, you say he's boring, compelling. He's not actively doing anything. It's the wonder about him that makes him compelling. Unlike I mentioned in a previous recording, Kimberly from Full Metal Alchemist, an evil guy who does shit, but he's interesting because he does shit, and you never know exactly what he's up to.
Anyway, my final point. I can understand Kira's point about not visiting the Orb Memorial earlier. For someone whose motivation was to protect people, this is yet another reminder of his failures.
It makes it worse. That makes it worse if he actually acknowledges this as one of his failures, because that would imply that he knows what he did here.
Oh, I don't think... Okay, there's a difference between...
My rallying against him in that scene when we were reacting to it was that he was a fucking asshole for never having come here, and then Shin's here to mourn the loss of his family. That happened here. So it's like, if you're saying that Kira recognizes what he's did here and never came?
No. I think it's not more of, oh, I directly killed those people right there. It's more that he's trying to protect people, and in spite of everything he does, all the people that die because of it, like the little girl and his mother who got shot, his former lover, I guess, not girlfriend. They never really official, I guess.
I think they were. You can count them as official. Like literally, she goes out to claim him on the deck. So
yeah, it could be pretty one-sided.
I mean, literally, they get in a fight with Sai, who was like the former fiance. He's like, she didn't want you, man. Everyone else here can hear that she didn't want you. It's like very much. He's like, put the claim down.
Yeah. He tries to protect her, and again, block the first shot. Second shot comes in and blows up, right? Kills everybody, right? He had to know that even if he himself didn't, shoot anybody, every missed shot that missed him hit somebody in orb, right? And then he had to leave, and technically the Alliance had won the battle anyway, and Kagali's dad blew himself up in the process. So even if you don't have the specific instance of, oh, I remember when I fired this shot and that Jack guy moved away and I hit those running people on the beach and killed them all, there's a lot of people, when you have that instinct of trying to protect people, like Kira does, and he wants to protect everybody, right? It's like, every time he fails to protect somebody, it's a reminder. And he has to now walk into this memorial, which is a field of flowers, which is really like every single flower is maybe a person, right? And then Chin says, it's bullshit because they're going to wither because of the ocean, right? The salt's going to kill them eventually.
Not what he says.
Yeah.
He says it doesn't matter because we destroy all the flowers anyway.
Yeah. And
he's
like,
more abrupt about it. Not the very scientific argument that you said he says.
He does mention something about the beach anyway. But anyway, he's like, and moments before during the first episode, he's literally watching the sky falling on Earth, and he's like, fucking hell, here we go again, right? I can understand Kira going like, I have to confront the fact that I failed so many times, and this is me confronting that. And of course, Shin shows up like, you motherfucker, you killed my family. Well, he doesn't say that because he doesn't know it was him. But it's like you.
It's the only reason why he turned around and apologized, because he doesn't know who he's talking to. I mean, I don't dislike your interpretation of events. I would like it if Kira wasn't so Basara about it. He doesn't think any of that shit out loud. In fact, you're adding material to Kira that Kira doesn't say.
Yeah, because I think it's because Kira has been out of focus. They decided to just make him a silent character. All this, right? He just spoke.
Yeah, Atherans are now old focus.
Yeah. So if it had been Kira who had went with Kigali, which kind of makes a little sense because they're brother and sister, they're gonna protect him, right?
Yeah, we gotta find out what happened to our fucking parents because that never got covered.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, you're going to plan? Okay, I'll go with you. Oh no, well, my cute girlfriend is singing in the beach, so damn it. I guess I gotta stay.
I'm not saying it's not like 100% off kilter for Kira, because Kira does like, why don't you come to Zaft with us? I've got all my friends are on that ship. I have to protect it. It's very much in his ballpark of previous thought process. But he's not actively telling us that he's thinking these thoughts. So, at what point would I think that's why Kira is doing it? Like, if you just stand there and stare off into the distance, you could be thinking about what you're having for dinner tonight. I don't fucking know. Oh, man. I hope Reverend got those lamb chops from the farm yesterday. Oh, is that Lacus singing? Oh, wow, what the fuck is that? I wasn't paying attention. Something's falling from space.
Wait, he did say in the morning he found it so hard to come back to, right? He hadn't come back early on, right? It's like, clearly he feels something. It's like, oh, fuck it, what am I even doing here? Oh, Lacus wanted to get some flowers. Okay, I'll hang around this, creepy memorial until she comes back because fuck it, I got nothing better to do. I might as well just urinate here. Might as well, I mean, if he had started doing that, I was like, okay, motherfucker, that's a little disrespectful.
I mean, of all the places he could visit, he knows a lot of people that died in a lot of places. Why, like, here, where literally nobody he knows died?
I mean, it was a crucial. He was part of it.
Could have gone out to the ocean, see where Toll got his head cut off by a flying shield. Could have gone up to space, like that little moon crevice thing where literally bodies are laying there where Moo died.
He did. They also went to the memorial, memorial that was that now got destroyed. Because they actually sent the flowers. Actually, they do the whole thing where they do the lights thing. It's Kagali, it's Lacus who does the thing that sends the lights into space, and they're standing there. It's not the first time he's been to a memorial, right?
I would contest that because I know that happens in season 1. I don't believe that's the Peace Memorial one that happens at the beginning of this season, though. I think that's just a different group of people.
Isn't that when they go to get supplies because they have to find water?
In season 1, that happens, yeah.
Yeah, because they show it in the movie very briefly.
Sorry, they do another thing like that at the beginning of this season, but I don't think that's Lacus or Kira or anything.
No, not in this. I'm talking about season 1.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. I was contesting that. I was like, I remember that. That's different people, though.
So I don't think it's the first time he's ever actually,
Well, except that had nothing to do with him. That was just paying your respect for dead people that you're robbing. I'm grave robbing you because I'm thirsty. Have some flowers.
Yeah, but still, it shows that he, he's not completely heartless. It's like, oh, these people died.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it hit you a little bit harder when you're grave robbing and you actively walk into a room with a dead child holding her mother with a teddy bear floating around.
And also, this was a fight that he had to escape away from, right? Remember, that's the whole thing about the ramp, the launch ramp. Like, oh, we have to get away, right? And that was also the fight he was trying not to actually start killing people.
What?
Yeah, they get away from it.
The Janus 7 memorial thing happens at the beginning of season 1, and now you just suddenly jumped to the ramp, which is like the end of season 1.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the orb thing. I'm talking about going back to the
battle. You just jumped topics without telling me, though. It's like, we're talking about the Janus 7, he pays respect to the dead, and I'm like, yeah, the teddy bear, and you're like, yeah, but the ramp. I'm like, what fucking ramp? There was no ramp in Janus 7.
No. I mean, I'm talking about the fact that this is not the first time he's involved in paying his respects to people. And then, of course,
the zaft people paid more respects. Like, I pointed out to the fact that Fredericks dies, and as they're passing by, even in the middle of combat, like Yazik and the entire crew of people that spent any time with Frederick saluting him as he's burning to death in the ship. Or, I can't remember the other guy. The guy who replaces Frederick for some small part during the start of season 1. He gets into a fight with the Archangel going down into orbit, and he goes so low that he can't pull back up, and he's dying. And then everybody in their Gundams salutes him as he's dying, too. These people salute and care about they're actively dying or dead. Compared to, we've seen Atherin at his mother's grave multiple times. He talk about how his mother was at Janus 7, and we go back over this stuff.
Yeah.
Kira paid respects at one graveyard that he was robbing.
And now to another one.
Yeah, and visited one other one. Atherin has visited more graveyards and paid respect than Kira has.
Yeah, but I'm putting as an example of, the fact that he's done it more than once, and it's not... Again, people deal with...
I don't count Janus 7 in amongst the graveyards that Kira went to pay respects for. He went there because he was thirsty. Again, you don't. I paid respects to that graveyard. You mean the one that you dug up all the bodies? Yeah, I paid respects. Yeah, no, get out of here. That one doesn't count.
So yeah, that was my last thought.
All right. Well, I guess there's nothing left to do then to get into it.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
See, wasn't anything awkward about that.
Oh no, not at all.
I'm glad you agree.
Sure.
Life is a lot easier if you just don't read sarcasm.
Uh-huh.
That was also something I was going to take a note about, but didn't.
Yeah.
Because remember, Shin is all about how you protect your idealism at the cost of people's lives, and then he's like, idealism is great, but not the time for that. Would have been another argument to why I don't think it was stupid. I don't agree with it. I think I probably called them stupid in the reaction.
Yeah.
But that's only because I disagree with it. Not because it's stupid. I think if I was a citizen of Orb, I would like, fuck yeah. We don't get to be attacked this time? Great. Also, you know that that phone's gonna get destroyed at some point.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be like a triggering thing for Shin. Like they're just building it up. I think the thing I don't like about this season the most is how many flashbacks we do to his family getting killed because they're overplaying that hand hard.
Mm-hmm. No, you know what's gonna happen? The current Gundam he has is gonna get destroyed, and you're gonna have a scene of the phone found. It's like, oh no, Kira is dead. Chin is dead, and turns out Chin is not dead, and he gets a new Gundam, and this phone goes away. It's like, I gotta leave my sister behind, and he's like, I can't find. And then he goes a new Gundam and just start kicking ass again.
Sorry, I went comedy mode. He gets a Gundam that's a giant pink flip phone.
No, really? How the hell would that work?
I don't know. I mean, you can do anything you want to do. It's an anime. He just turns his sister's flip phone into a giant Gundam. You thought I was dead, but I came back with the visual of my dead sister. I guess it's not really comedy if you think about it. Oh, I guess they're also going to bring back Gali's Gundam.
Gali has a... Oh, yeah, she had a Gundam.
Yeah, the rosé thing. I can't remember what it was called exactly, but we see it in the opening. Yeah. She's standing on the ground, and there's like this pink Gundam in the background. And he's got like a little rose on the shoulder.
Yeah. It's pink because she's a girl.
However, she's not in the opening.
Oh.
And like everybody is in the fucking opening.
Oh.
By the opening, I mean this part, where, you know, everyone's there with the name stuff.
Mm-hmm. Neither is Arthur.
Yeah, he was. He was in that segment. I know specifically because I mentioned him before when I did a whole opening breakdown.
Well, you do see her with Gundam, and she's wearing a uniform. She's wearing that white uniform. So.
No, I mean specifically in the part where they show the person and the name of the Gundam.
Oh, I guess it's not an important Gundam to be. I
don't know. They fucking named the Zaku Warrior, for example. Yeah. So that's just a normal Jin. So Miguel in season 1 gets named with a Jin. They just fucking rebuilt it, I guess.
Yeah. War begins.
The guy in the middle. He's from Archangel. I think he was. He looked very familiar. Oh, back to the nukes.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't rebuild it. Maybe they just salvaged it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, yellow hair, long hair in the background. Maybe Eileen's still here. It's literally the demands that they gave Orb.
Yeah, which they can't accept.
Yeah, which Orb couldn't accept back then either. Something about this scene is very distracting from the seriousness.
Yeah.
I think I was wrong. I think that yellow-haired lady is the one that was talking right there, and that's not Eileen.
No plan, no peace. Wow.
We're born natural. Oh, never mind. That is very clearly a, what do you call that, crow's peak? When you get the, going bald this way? That's definitely not a woman's hairline.
いや、それではあまりにも遅い。どうか落ち着いていただきたい。皆さん。
They listen to him.
そうして我らまで乗ってしまった。
They listen to Patrick too.
連合が何を言ってこようが、我々はあくまで対話による解決の道を求めていかねばなりません。
Actually, that's like a woman, though.
No, no, there's a woman there. I just mean the one from the far shot. I don't know who that
Oh,
is. Might be that guy.
Yeah.
月の地球軍基地にはすでに動きがあるのだぞ。理念も良いが、現状は間違いなくレベルレッドだ。当然迎撃態勢に入らねばならん。
For a second, I was thinking that green-haired guy was what's his name's dad, the dead kid from season 1. He was different from a far shot, though.
でもやむを得ませんか。我らの中には今もあの血のバレンタインの恐怖が残っている。
Yep, Gen 7 can't escape that shit. Yeah, boy. Gins. I love gins. Gins are good.
それでも我らは今後も対話での解決に向けて全力で努力していかねばなりません。
I can't believe they let them rebuild the moon base, though. That was fucking stupid. What is this monstrosity? Super carrier Gundam.
Gundam. Like a super continent, I guess. Oh, name after the name after the.
Well, I mean, it's super carrier.
Yeah.
どうかそのことをくれぐれも忘れないでいただきたい。
Yeah, park that thing over the moon. What are you doing? Just watching. What are you guys doing?
アレックスさん、
すみません。状況はどうなっていますか？
よくはありませんよ。プラント市民は皆怒っています。議長は
God damn it, Seed. Why are the subtitles on the top of the screen?
それを弱腰と非難する声も上がり始めています。 朝代表の特使ということで
I mean, not for nothing. They're fucking arming nukes already.
この状況ではちょっとどうなるかわかりませんね。
わかりました。
Comparatively, ton of nukes versus a super carrier, I still think the nukes are the harder thing.
Oh, he's part of the. He's literally talking to the president.
未だに協議を続けたいと様々な手を打ってきておるし、声明や同盟に否定的な国もあるのだ。そんな中、そうそう強引なことは。
おやおや、前にも言ったはずですが、そんなもの、プラントさえ撃ってしまえば全て収まると。
I mean, they'll be all dead. Of course, the things will calm
How are
down.
you going to talk with the guy and watching him on screen?
スカンジナビア王国。ああ、怖いのはオーブですか。
あの国は、まあな。
あんなちっぽけな国。世界はね。
I appreciate that he didn't get all, like, indignant. Hey, you're afraid of Orb? That country? Well, yeah. You know, like, fuck no, I'm not afraid of Orb. I'll rise to that. What the fuck is up with this place?
Yeah.
Well, it's like we think it's not on Earth, then why do they have all this trash in their woods?
I guess for the same reason that there was a junkyard in Site 6 in 79? I guess.
It feels like a remember where we came from sort of like trash memorial. Nope, Fraw. Sorry, Haw. Not Fraw, Haw.
街を作り、道具を作り、ルールを作ってね。そして今、それをかつてないほどの壮大な規模でやれるチャンスを得たんですよ。我々は だからさっさと奴らを撃って早く次の楽しいステップに進みましょうよ。我々ロゴスのための美しい庭。
Oh,
世
logos.
界システムの構築というね。
Who the hell is logos?
Whether we're dipping into mythology or we're maybe that's the lab that they made the other 3 people in.
No, but
Because if you
logos
think
sounds
that
like
those
logos
other,
is thought.
if you
It's
think
Greek for
those
thought.
other 3 people are
Yeah.
like coordinators but controlled,
Yeah.
then you could kill all the current coordinators and then have that super race of literal slaves.
Yeah.
You forget
Yeah,
who
but
she is,
logos-
but then I remember her fucking hair. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Logos is thought, and there's a passage in the Bible says you know, the first thing was thought. The third,
Ironically,
first
Logos
thing
is
was the
also
word-
a card game
word-
that I have a card of myself in. So
word, and the word was with God. So essentially, his organization is about rebuilding.
like I said, it could be
Humanity?
mythology, which is what I was alluding to, or it was a capital L, so that's what I'm saying. It could be the name of the lab.
Gizo! これより私は全世界の皆さんに非常に重大かつ残念な事態をお伝えせねばなりません。
そうだ、予備機も全て戦闘ステータスで起動しろ。
My boy.
第44戦闘団は搭載機の発進を完了した。フォックストロットのメンバー発令。
I guess at least they didn't like fire the nukes first.
フェーズ6に移行する。全ユニットオールウェポンズフリー。
Also, unless Kira deploys from Earth, this will also be the first time without like the justice and the freedom
が
to like mass destroy shit.
回答すら得られず、この未曾有のテロ行為を行った犯人グループをかくまい続ける現プラント政権は我々にとっては明らかな脅威
Is there a couple now?
No, well, maybe. She's replacing Mu with him, and he's replacing his girlfriend that died in the desert with her.
Yeah. I mean, not replace him. Maybe people move on.
Well, no, I don't. I think it is replacement. They haven't moved on. They're creating an emotional replacement.
以後部外者の上官を全面的に禁止します。全保安要員は直ちに配置についてください。第一戦闘軍、まもなく戦闘圏に突入します。
Who's gonna fire first? Oh, they did. Ah, but Earth drew first blood.
防衛軍の司令官を最終防衛ラインの配置は
全士港の封鎖完了しました。警報の発令はパニックに備え軍の MP にも待機命令を。
脱出したところで我らには行くところなどないのだ。何としてもプラントを守るんだ。
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
You're in space. You got nowhere
Yeah.
else.
Who is this guy again?
Which
Oh, he's
one?
on the first. The blonde guy. Who's just
Ray?
like smiling. Ray.
射出システムエンゲージ。
Well, yeah. Remember, he agrees with Shin of the whole anti-Earth sentiment thing, or that Orb and them were in the wrong. Whatever. He agrees with Shin on a lot of things.
Yeah, but shouldn't they be aboard the Minerva? The Minerva hasn't launched yet from Earth, has she?
厄介留守マン、ザク発進する。
I think so.
本体戦闘開始しました。
Surprise attack, please.
予定通りだな。こちら
I'm good to see that Earth Alliance has great,
Naming conventions, yeah.
but no, I was gonna say standards when it comes to like beers and shit.
ないということを今度こそ思い知らせてやるのだ。
All right.
Oh, that looks like a Gundam.
No, it's the nuke carriers.
Oh, those
from
are nukes,
season 1.
yeah.
I doubt that the yeah, the super carrier here. If they're blowing through regular battleships like that, the super carrier can't be that much more protected. So Zaft no longer has a super weapon, but the nukes are still here.
あいつら極軌道哨戒機より入電敵別動隊にマーク5型核ミサイルを確認
なんだと数は
不明ですがかなりの数のミサイルケースを確認したとのことです機長
Keep saying, man, fuck the Earth Alliance.
Yeah, I'm not siding with them.
極軌道からの敵軍を迎撃せよ奴らは核を持っている一気たりともプラントを撃たせるな
I don't know, man. I feel like my anger at them has no outlet, except for, I don't know, the words of Patrick Zala.
じゃあこいつらは全てを取り
Wait, did you mean him?
Yeah.
Durka, that's Durka.
Oh.
He used to run the Blitz. Season 1. Oh, maybe we do have a super weapon.
I mean, he was preparing for something like this.
I mean, if your enemy has a super weapon, you gotta have a super weapon too. It's just the rules.
Yeah.
レッド22ベータにナスカ級3ですが一隻は見慣れぬ装備をつけています
そら行け今度こそ青き正常なる世界のために
I guess if you have racists, like, make them zealots too.
Oh, it's a neutron.
Yeah, it's basically gonna be a smaller version of the Josh A weapon. The Cyclops or the whatever the Jash and Do thing was. Yeah, fuck off. Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
一体何が核ミサイルはすべて撃破核攻撃隊は完全に消滅しましたよしスタンピーダーは量子フレネルを蒸発させブレーカーが作動現在システムは
But it seems he got.
It's a one-shot weapon.
Yeah.
That's what he said. We've only got one shot. I enjoy that all of Zaft's super weapons are one shot, and then you gotta figure out how to make it work again.
これで終わってくれるといいんですがね
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, the Earth Alliance has, you know, announced itself,
Yeah.
and then, you know, to what degree they were willing to go to. They don't know
Yeah.
what your super weapons are like. They didn't even expect it. So maybe you could bluff your way through this.
Probably.
Because they still want peace, despite what the fuck they just tried to do.
Which is commit genocide
Yeah.
again.
With the same fucking force. Also, as they already said, you've all got, like, fear of Bloody Valentine. So you're like, it's like they attacked us with giant fucking spiders, right? These people have a fucking fear of this. One, we know it's not Lacus because she's on Earth.
Yeah.
I think. Because also I'm going
Yeah.
to say that Lacus has a double thing, not a star.
やっと来てくださいました
うしてここに。
ずっと待ってたのよ、私。あなたが来てくれるの。
I think she's a clone.
I'm just thinking, are we cloning everybody these days?
Yeah.
なんだと。
ですから全滅です。核攻撃隊は一機残らず跡形もなく全滅したんですよ。
It's a real shame that we like put all of our nuclear units in like a line, a straight line.
撤退しました。
そんなバカな。
ラクス様。
はい、わかりました。ではまた。
You were right. It was her, a clone of her.
でもよかったわ。本当に嬉しい。アスラン。
But that means that Sala is Sala no that Durandal's planning something.
Well, we saw the shadow of somebody with Durandal that has the same profile as Lacus.
いや、だいぶお待たせしてしまってるようで申し訳ない。
あ、いえ。
どうしたね。
いえ、なんでもありません。
Oh, come on. What do you mean? It's nothing. No, they have that tight-lipped smirked.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's nothing not to smirk about right now. I mean, you almost died, but you like fucking showed Earth Alliance what for.
For now.
Well, we know that they've retreated because they have no fucking nukes left, so... I mean, as per the name of the episode, Bared Fangs. It wasn't an episode about, you know, lethal attack. Bared Fangs is just a threat. And I think they relatively proved that they can still defend themselves.
Yeah.
But not for nothing. I mean, they are in the least defendable position ever.
Yeah.
I think that their main benefit is that the Earth Alliance are fucking stupid. You know, maybe...
We're trying.
Well, no, not even for trying. Literally, if I was going to do this and I really wanted to, the plants are attackable 360 degrees. Stop firing everything in a salvo forwards.
イカれるプラント。それは奇妙な騎士感。繰り返すのが歴史というならば、今己の立つここは目の前にあるのは今度こそ願う場所への道か。
I mean, he knows it's not her.
But he doesn't know.
I mean, okay. He could just make a call. It's like, hey,
Why would you, though? If he doesn't suspect it's not her.
Yeah.
Again, he hasn't run into a lot of clones of his friends before. The first one you wouldn't suspect.
I think, okay.
Also,
what?
the anger, though. The anger
here
you have to feel. Because they tried to fucking Bloody Valentine's Day us a fifth time. A fifth time! They have to know how fucking angry that makes us. Everyone has a phobia about Bloody Valentine. Every time we've ever seen a normal-ass person react to nukes, it has been like... Again, like you locked them in a room filled with spiders. It's like, what the fuck?
No, but I mean about Arthur. It's like she's standing with some dudes, right? Some bodyguards.
Yeah, because literally she's a foreign person here on board the... Look.
Okay, the first thing he would say...
If this happened during a D&D campaign, and I suddenly was like, it's a fucking clone, I attack them, you'd be like, fucking metagaming. No.
No. But if you, for example, went like, okay, and where's your boyfriend at? You know, the one you were spending like the last 4 months together is like, is he back on Earth or something? And,
yeah, and then she'd be like, oh, Kira? No, he's still back on Earth. Boom, done. What? You're acting like this is an easily solvable situation. One, I don't think it's an easily recognizable situation. It's just fucking Lacus. We haven't, we haven't been like, oh, there's like 100 different versions of all of our characters. Could be cloning everybody. This is like the first time we've run into this problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The first time is the hardest one to identify, because you also have to identify this is fucking happening. Otherwise, it's just, what's Lacus doing here? I'd rather think that it'd be easier to consider that Lacus has turned on Kira than it would be that there's a clone of Lacus. Lacus having an literally for Athrun, Lacus having an unknown motive that she's not telling him about is par the course. It's not even.
Oh, we'll see.
Again, remember the whole thing that she wouldn't tell Athrun about, and then she tells Kira everything about, and then only tells Athrun when he like pulls a gun on her. Yeah, that. It could be more of that. Lacus is an untrustworthy bitch.
Far.
It's not too far. Also, somehow, the half of that sentence got cut off. I don't know how that happened.
Huh.
Because you said too far. You gave me a
I wouldn't go that
spaghetti
far.
western on me. No, I'm saying it's not, though. That's why I don't like Lacus. Because Athrun was like the best character. Not the best character, he's the best person of Season 1. Because all he wants to do is bring his friend back to Zaft, which, by the way, did nothing wrong. So, and then we can talk about it there. It's like, I got friends back there. It's like, I don't care. Just... all of Athrun's actions are entirely reasonable throughout Season 1. And then Lacus turns out to just tell Kira everything that she wouldn't tell Athrun, her fiancé. Your argument being that his dad is Patrick. It's like, yeah, but then she tells him anyway, with no change in the events of anything.
The change is she's being hunted. And she's either going to be in prison or killed.
Yeah, so the alternative is she could have just told Athrun that and then been in the same situation. She could have told the person that she assumedly loved and then been in the same situation had she been wrong, but she wouldn't have been, by the way, because Athrun goes with her on this after he finds out. But too late, I've given my heart to another. You know? She's a real bitch. I don't side with rationality in the emotional situations. I already told you I'm going to hold debate about the show Chaos about Orpheus and God, it's not Eurydice, is it? Eurydice, I think, is the name. Because of the whole unrequited love thing. That she just doesn't tell him that she's not in love. Her plan is just to run away and never tell him that she just fell out of love with him. And everyone says no, he's the asshole. Because he smothered her and his love and blah blah blah. She didn't fucking tell him! She didn't fucking tell him he was in love with her! How can he be expected to know if he didn't say anything? The same thing with Lacus. How can Athrun know any of this stuff to try and fix either A, their relationship, or B, the politics of Zaft, if she hides it from him, but then rescues the guy he almost killed himself fighting, brings him into enemy territory, and then tells him everything anyway?
He needed a new Gundam, so there's
that.
that.
Of course. So we're just... So you're saying it was completely meaningless in a bullshit narrative. We needed Kira into a new Gundam, so we bullshitted Deus Ex Machina our way into giving him a new Gundam by getting rid of Athrun's fiancé, creating an entire betrayal Zaft faction, and then also pulled the Gundam out of our ass because we never talked about it once before. So, all to get Kira back into action, a reason to fight, and a new weapon.
I mean, she probably knew that new Gundams were being built if she had that. I mean, her father still had enough connections.
I'm not saying that she didn't know. I'm saying us, the viewer, was never mentioned anything about new Gundams. So literally in that episode... I'm saying in that episode, it was all just introduced. Literally, the entire thing. Saved Kira, asspull, by the way, because he should have died in the explosion.
That part, yeah, it's...
Transferred him to plant, which means we got him from an island, which, by the way, had no ramp, no space capabilities whatsoever that we've ever seen. Got him from that island with a blind reverend to plant without anybody knowing. Which, by the way, great thing when we figure out later that we're constantly going to attack these places with nukes, which implies that we could smuggle them in easily, apparently. Gonna tell him all the information that I couldn't tell my own fiancé, who I will trust enough later to tell him anyways. Gonna give him a the highest tech Gundam, 50% of the highest tech Gundam to ever exist, which is, by the way, guarded by one guy. Thank God he was easily bribable or convinced. Yeah, it's just so much shit. So much bullshit. And it's all around her.
Oh, there you go. She has real political power, which might explain why she got cloned.
Technically, no, she doesn't. She's an idol. She has real idol power. Her dad had real political power, being the former president or prime chairman, whatever it is, of Zaft.
But she's still a symbol, though.
Yeah, she's a real symbol, all right.
Anyway.
I don't like blackness. I like plenty of women in these shows. It's not a I hate all women thing.
You said it, I didn't.
Yeah, I did say that it's not a I hate all women thing.
Yeah.
That was the full sentence. I loved Flay. I hated Flay, then I really loved Flay. She was like the best entertainment of the show. I'm interested to see what Hala does. I, again, am disappointed that she didn't wind up with Durka. I understand it, killed her boyfriend, but it really felt like they were forming some sort of attachment there.
Yeah.
I don't care for the Waltfield Ramius thing. And again, I think that is just a crutch. They're crutching one another.
People move on.
I don't think they have. I still literally think it, because it reminds me very much of Gundam 00. I can't remember the tactician's name there. I feel very much it's just an emotional crutch, especially because Ramius already had the moving on storyline. Mu was literally her moving on storyline, because that's why she wears the grave thing on her necklace, which is her old boyfriend. Mu was her moving on from that. So I feel like this is just an emotional crutch. I need somebody around me, and then he lost his girlfriend to fighting Kira.
And an eye.
What?
And an eye.
I don't understand what you're saying. Oh, and an eye.
eye.
You're saying it so fast. And an eye. And an eye. If you didn't know you were saying and an eye, it just sounds and an eye. And an eye. And an eye. Like you're saying anodyne or something.
You're stuck with it now.
Well, because now I know what you were saying, right? It's like looking at that picture of it's like looking at that picture of a beautiful woman, and you flip it over, and it's a woman with a large nose. Once you see it, now you know it's there.
Yeah,
you can't pull it back.
Now you can't say it normally.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's like saying anodyne. I hear you say like anodyne or something like that, and it's like, what? And I just started saying a random word after you said a sentence, and then like slowed down, and it turns out to be like a whole thing.
Record backwards kind of shit.
Well, no, just like slowing it down. Like, you fall into a black hole, and you get a transmission. And you're like, what the hell is that? And you slow it down. It's a whole fast-forwarded thing. Just gotta slow it down. And an eye.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, he lost a lot. He also lost, it's like, he has to walk with a cane now and everything. It's like he was facing that side of the explosion.
Yep. So that's it for me.
Okay, not a lot to talk about this episode.
No, not really.
All right. Well, I guess we got it all out in the beginning. Expect notes, though. Once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?